All right, welcome back to another episode of Creators Talking. And this one I've been looking forward to ever since the man himself agreed to join me on the show. I've been watching his YouTube channel for a long ass time now, and also his involvement in a couple of other projects we'll get to later on. But he is the man behind the one and only GoodBadFlicks YouTube channel. He is the one and only Mr. Cecil Trachenburg.
Hey, hi.
It's good to see you again. It's been a
Good to
while
see
since
you, man.
we last spoke, and I'm thrilled to have you on the show today.
Thanks. I'm glad to be back.
All right, so um, I always like to start these things right at the beginning. So, who was Cecil before YouTube came along?
Um, well, originally, I was actually going to school to be I wanted to be a DJ, but not
Really?
like your traditional like disc jockey. I wanted to be
Mm,
something more of like an Art Bell, who talks about like the paranormal and
yeah.
then also plays a little bit of music because at the time it was fun to kind of play music and because I did like college radio and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun because I really enjoy introducing people to new music.
Mm,
But I even back then, we're going way back. I could see that uh, music DJs were like were going the way of the dinosaur, and so I really thought, and it just was more fun to me to be able to talk because I really talk a lot,
yeah.
and it was an avenue that I was pursuing, but I realized that the way that the structure of the educational system was set up and everything, it wasn't really going to give me the tool set that I needed, and I kind of dropped out. And so instead, I pursued video editing,
Mm,
and I became a video editor for a college out here for a number of years, and really just kind of honed my craft and got better at that. And but that got increasingly boring because
oh, really?
editing educational videos is mind-numbingly dull. And so back around late 2009, um, I saw what a lot of people, the rise of the reviewerverse. Like you had people, like James Rolfe and
Yeah.
Doug Walker, and who were bringing about a this thing to the internet that really didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And at the time there were a lot of people that were just wholesale ripping them off. They were all doing like the angry critic guy, and they didn't a lot of them some of them were good, but most of them didn't really seem to understand what made those two guys as popular as they were.
Mm,
It was because of their delivery, because of their performance, because they actually brought something to the table. They weren't just angry guy yells at clouds.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I had contacted, I have friends all over the country, and I had contacted them and said, hey, if I was willing to put together some videos where I talked about movies in a positive light, would that be something that you were interested in watching? And they were like, absolutely.
Mm,
So on the side, I was still working my full-time job and whatnot in video editing, and I started doing this on the side and was uploading it to a company called Blip TV. They were YouTube's biggest competitor. There's been other competitors over time, but they were really the big one as far as video hosting. Like there
yeah.
really hasn't been anybody before or after that came close. And also because of the timing of it,
Mm,
that YouTube was still kind of growing as a platform, and even
mhm.
still it was big, but now it's just a juggernaut.
Absolutely.
So um, I started uploading them on Blip, and it started to get some traction when I noticed that I was getting comments from people. Like initially, it was just comments from friends of mine, and I'd get like a handful of views.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as time grew on, I started to notice that more and more people that I didn't know were commenting. And that's when I was like, oh, I might be onto something. There might be people that
Mm.
want to see a little bit more positivity than just straight up negativity. And then I kind of, that was, that was like early 2010 because I officially started around when did I start? March of 2010, I think was officially when I started uploading. So,
Mm.
and then it's kind of, grown exponentially since then.
Yeah, I mean, regarding the likes of James Rolfe, I have respect for him because I know he was one of the first people to make public his criticisms on the then coming Ghostbusters reboot, and some of the things he was called and said about him. I thought, come on, seriously? And in the end, those criticisms turned out to be quite valid. So I always respected him for that.
Well, the funny thing about the Ghostbusters controversy was it was such a non thing. Like people are like, "Well,
Mm.
why did he feel the need to speak up on this?" It's like, well, you have to understand at the time, James and still, I guess now, he Ghostbusters is one of his all-time favorite movies.
Hmm.
And he's got an audience of millions of people. And so he was getting bombarded with, "Are you going to go see Ghostbusters? You're going to go see Ghostbusters 2016. Please watch Ghostbusters 2016 and eviscerate it." And he put out a very calm,
Yeah.
rational, level-headed video where he said, "Look, this doesn't look like it's going to be good.
Hmm.
I love the original. Respectfully, I am going to vote with my wallet and I am not going to go see
Yeah.
it." And you had people shockingly like
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt,
Yeah.
Dane Cook, all like actual celebrities that were coming out and who obviously didn't even watch 5 seconds of the video,
Yeah.
who said, "Oh, screaming guy in his
Yeah.
basement yells at movie or
Yeah.
it hates women and minorities for some reason." And, it was really funny because I briefly spoke to James, a couple months after that,
Mm.
and I just asked him, "How did you weather the Ghostbusters controversy?" And he was like, "To be honest, I had no idea they're even," because he's like, "I don't do social media
Mhm.
really." So he's like, "I didn't even know that there was any kind of blowback." And I think that's kind of the ultimate revenge where it's like, all
Yeah.
these people, "Brr!" And this guy living his life with his family could
Yeah.
give a shit that there
Mm.
are a whole bunch of people that are mad at him because
Yeah.
he wouldn't go to see a movie
Yeah,
that
yeah.
looked awful. So,
The
yeah,
the
again, same with you, a
yeah,
massive, massive respect for the guy.
yeah. I always found it amusing in retrospect because one of the people that went after him, uh, was Devin Faraci, and
Oh,
the stuff
right.
that got revealed about him later on, I was like, "Mhm." But,
Mhm.
yeah, to move on, the next couple of questions I was gonna ask, were, I'm assuming you were a major movie buff growing up, and then what does your movie collection look like? But the thing is, I can see behind you.
Yeah, you
So,
can see some
yeah,
of them back there.
so
Yeah.
I've kind of realized they're pointless questions. What can you add to that?
Um,
How
I
many do you have? Can you tell me that, or do you
I
not
have
know?
no idea.
No, I didn't think
A
so.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, I don't use the word like incorrectly. They are literally everywhere. My whole office pretty much looks like this. I mean, now granted, there's also books back there,
Mhm.
but I mean, you could see right there, there's
Yeah, I can
movies
see them,
there,
yeah.
there's movies there, I mean, now that row back there is video games, but
Yeah.
I have a lot. I actually, um, a while ago, got rid of a bunch of my DVDs. And the reason why was because I had if it was like, all right, if I have the Blu-ray of this and there is nothing um in the DVD that's not on the Blu-ray, because some DVDs they have like a commentary or something
Yeah.
that isn't on the Blu-ray. So in those
Mm.
cases, I kept those DVDs. But for the most part, if it was a movie that I upgraded from DVD to Blu-ray, I got rid of the DVDs. And I had a
Yeah, I
crap
understand
ton of
that.
DVDs.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I have a lot of Blu-rays, and then I have a lot of DVDs, and I have a couple of VHSs I kept for nostalgia purposes, but most of my VHSs I got rid of because there was no, I mean, not get rid of, but I mean, I actually gave them away, to people that were still like I have a friend of mine who, he still swears that VHS is better than DVD and Blu-ray. And I'm like, all right, well, more power to you here.
Yeah.
But,
I have one VHS cassette left in my whole collection, and it's literally sitting right here. It's Transformers the movie.
oh, wow.
Because we had it when I was a kid, and it's probably one of the most watched tapes in my house at the time. And my parents were going to throw it away when they moved house, and I went, "Oh hell no!" And I rescued it, and I've still got it now. So that's one of my nice little keepsakes from my childhood. But
yeah, I have little oddities like that. Like I have a while ago, I was at a flea market and I found a copy of Pit. This is going into a different direction, but there was a copy of Pitfall 2 for the Atari, and that was a game that I loved, and I still do. And I bought it and I had it on my desk for the longest time. And right now, it'll be back on my desk eventually. But I was doing a little house, like I was I was doing some PC work, and I was like, you know what? Now would be a good time to like do a little bit of cable management. So I moved everything off my desk, and I rewired everything, and I zip tied everything so it didn't look like I had a rat's nest behind my desk. So eventually, once I have some time, I'm gonna move all that stuff back. I have like a couple of little Lego people that sit on my desk, and other little that I have my Turtles mug.
Yeah. Yeah. All my figurines are literally sort of above the screen here. I mean, my favorite one that I got is actually what was crowdfunded during the pandemic, and it's the Spawn reissue figure.
I have that too, but I can't bring myself to take it out of the box.
Yeah, and I've got mine with the McFarlane plaque. He now sits happily up here along with a few other things I've got. But my collection is steadily growing. I've got it in my head that I want to get some of the original G1 Transformers and put them up here as well. But
they're the die-cast metal ones. They're awesome. But it's I think the only Transformer that I still have from back in the day is Optimus, and he's missing like maybe 2 pieces, but otherwise in really good shape. So I'm happy with. I would love to have a Megatron, but I looked up the eBay prices, and I'm like, well, maybe if I have another viral video, I can afford to buy Megatron.
I'll show this off before we carry on. This is one of my collectibles because I still read comics, and this is a variant cover of Transformers 1, the new series, and it's signed by
Peter Cullen.
Yeah, and it's
awesome.
9.8 as well. So this sits happily on my desk. It's one of my few prized possessions I have.
You know what? Give me one quick second. I'll grab something that I think that you'll appreciate.
Yeah, go for it.
So you don't see my pajama pants.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
There we go. See if I can get this in frame. All right, so seeing that you've got the Weyland Yutani shirt on.
Yep. Oh!
I got the Nerf gun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this I waited. The pulse rifle, it's awesome. That was another early pandemic thing.
Yeah.
It's got the round thing on it. Oh, dude, it's so badass. But I don't even remember. I know I'm not on mic.
It's okay, I can hear you.
That I think they did like not a crowdfunding, but like a pre-order thing. If they reached X amount of pre-orders, they would do it. And so I was like, hell yeah, I put in for that. And it took I think 3 years or something. And one day I get this big ass package, and I'm like, what the like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, oh, me in the past. Thank you for buying this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was so happy. That thing is awesome. I
Yeah, I like that.
eventually like I want to like display it, but the packaging is so nice that
Mm,
like I keep it in there and have it over there and bust it out every now and then to show it off. But it's so freaking cool.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I was glad that I got that. But yeah, I also got the Todd McFarlane thing. There were um a lot of cool little crowdfunding and whatnot things that popped up over the pandemic because
Absolutely.
we were all inside, we were all on the internet. What else are we gonna do? I don't gonna buy shit.
Mm. So I wanted to ask you who your influences were, because obviously you mentioned Art Bell, who many know as the voice of the night, and also, of course, James Rolfe. Was there anyone else that had an effect on you before you started the channel?
Well, it's Art Bell, James Rolfe, Kevin Smith,
Hmm.
and Mystery Science Theater 3000, and the movie Pump Up the Volume.
Ah,
That was a really big influence. That was the movie that made me want to well, that combined with Art Bell was the movie that made me want to get into like talk radio.
mm,
And that kind of pushed me in that direction. And I was lucky enough to also have a pretty good radio voice,
yes, you do.
which I wholesale. I don't not blame, but I guess attribute to the fact that when I was 16 years old, I used to smoke clove cigarettes,
Hmm.
and clove cigarettes rip your lung. I don't recommend it, but they taste delicious, but they rip your lungs. I think it's 7 times worse than a Marlboro Red.
Okay.
And so after smoking that for about a year, I'm like, and then I quit, like, and I haven't smoked since. But I do think that that gave me a nice. It damaged my vocal cords while I was still in the formative years, and it made it so I got a little bit more bass in there. So
Mm,
um, because I sounded similar to my father, but my father had a little bit of a higher registry.
mm,
So I think that me stupidly smoking did bring me down maybe an octave and in a good way. So
yeah.
yeah, but then so, yeah, those 5 are pretty much, largely my influences, and if you watch my stuff, you'll see various elements of
Mm,
all of them in there. Sometimes I have videos where I'm talking about the paranormal. I mean, God, how many videos have I done on Bigfoot and aliens and all that kind of stuff? But, and then I was recently on a show where we were discussing, like, cryptozoology and stuff, and I was like, "This is great because I don't get to talk about it all that much." But that and then just being influenced by James Rolfe because he had an idea and he did it, and so I kind of
yeah.
like saw my avenue that I wanted to do, and the thing was, I think a major difference between me and him was um um, he was on camera and I'm off camera for the most
Mm,
part, because the thing is, when I think that too many reviewers, even movie reviewers, they tend to make the video about themselves.
yeah.
And for me, whenever I'm talking about a film, I always try to keep the focus on the film itself. I'll
Yes.
give a little bit of my feelings about it. I'll talk maybe my history of it or something. Hey, I like this week I'm talking about a movie where it like this was a movie that I saw when I was a kid and that kind of thing. But for the most part, I try to keep it focused on whatever the material is, because
Hmm.
too many of them, it's like, all right, I really don't. I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this for you. I'm watching this for whatever you're talking about.
Mm,
Unless it's a video where that is part of it, where their personality is somewhat of the package.
yeah.
But a lot of them don't know how to do that, or they don't know how to balance it well.
Mm.
So yeah, so those are my big influences.
Well, regarding the channel itself, like I said in the intro, I've been watching it for a long time,
I've been
and
doing it a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, and I have to say, congratulations on its success, because your work is fantastic. I love your approach, because you have sort of different avenues in which you tackle some videos, which we'll get into. But I'm curious, how do you go about selecting the movies that you want to review? Is it sort of chuck a dart in your room and see where it hits, or do you have a specific target in mind?
Um, really, it's just kind of a feeling.
Hmm.
If I mean, I will try to line things up. Like for example, the new Mortal Kombat movie is coming out. And
Yes.
so I am going to be talking about the Mortal Kombat animated movie.
Hmm.
Um and way back when the first well, not the first Mortal Kombat movie, but the first reboot of Mortal Kombat came out a couple years
Yeah,
ago. I had tied an exploring video where I talked about the history of Mortal Kombat, everything that led to the first movie and everything. And that one I really enjoyed doing.
I
That one was
remember
a
that
lot of
one.
fun. Um, so I do try to time some of them accordingly, just for to kind of appease the algorithm. Maybe it'll give me a nice boost. Maybe it'll pay for my mortgage that month or something. But um, sometimes it's just, hey, uh, this is a movie I just rewatched, or I'll remember a movie, or somebody will suggest something, and I'll be like, you know what? That'd probably be really fun to do.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I get lucky, like I get contacted by a director, producer, writer, actor, whatever. Hey, I worked on this movie. I'd love to talk to you about it. And it'll be something that, holy crap, yes, I would love to talk, Nothing But Trouble, The House is October Built, um, what are some other the Lost Boys,
Hmm.
and I will kind of put together a documentary, usually going through like a large part of the history, like with the Lost Boys. It started off as a movie where Peter Pan was a vampire,
Mm.
and it evolved into the movie that we got. So like stuff like that is really fascinating because it's something that, if I wasn't making it, this is something that I would personally wanna watch.
Mm.
And so that's what I try to do. I try to make something that, is interesting to me, which therefore I think is interesting to the audience.
Mm.
Now, sometimes that doesn't always pan out. I will do a movie that, maybe not a lot of people have heard of, and it doesn't go over really well, but at the end of the day, I think it's really interesting. Like there was a video a while ago I did. The director had reached out to me.
Oh,
It's a
really?
movie called Other Halves,
Okay.
and I watched it and I thought it was fine. And he was like, would you do an exploring video on this? And I'm like, honestly, I liked it, but I didn't think it was like that interesting. And he's like, well, let me tell you a little bit about the history. And he told me about how it got made and how it ended up on Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime gave it an X rating because there was male nudity in it. And there was tons of full frontal female nudity in it. That was fine, but the male nudity got them an X rating, and I was like, "You know what? Okay, that's pretty interesting. I would like to kind of." So I tackled that avenue, and I put together the video, and that one did, like, okay. It didn't go over as well as I had hoped, but, with these things, you never know. Like, 'cause then there was a video I did about, uh, Galaxina, which was
Mm.
a very not well-known movie that was, Dorothy Stratton's last film,
Yes. Yeah.
and wrote shortly thereafter, she was murdered and everything,
Mm.
and, I did the video because I thought that it was fascinating, um, because, she was really interesting, and her like,
Yeah.
everything that the director, Peter Bogdanovich was, like, infatuated with her and all this, and that video did tremendously well, and I
Mm.
didn't think that it would, so, it's all a crapshoot, I just
It's
kind of I just do what I think works, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
well, I like it because a lot of the films you've done videos on, I've not heard of. So I always go into these thinking, okay, this sounds interesting. What is this? And when I learn the plot and how well some of the ridiculous parts of any such plot and the behind the scenes stuff you put in, I'm always fascinated by it because I thought, you know what, maybe I'll watch some of these sometime. And you have done that to me in a couple of cases, which we'll get to shortly. But I always love your narration. I always love how you talk about the film or a particular fact, and then you'll chuck in a little bit of humor part way through. And I've selected some examples to go through here, because obviously it's fun to do this.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, here we go. This is my first choice. This is a bit from Surf Nazis Must Die. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is this bit in particular.
I have a
She's on
feeling
the
I know
beach
what
and
you're
she
gonna
overhears
do.
Smeg
Yeah.
explaining how the surf Nazis killed
That's so
Leroy.
old.
Damn.
That is Diane Copeland, who I discovered was married to was it Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
she's lovely. And yeah, she was also in Killer Workout.
yeah.
And yeah, but that was a big, like, if back then you couldn't choose your thumbnails.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling if I did that video now, that probably would have been my thumbnail, and I'd probably have 1 million views on it.
Yeah.
'Cause that was
Yeah.
whenever somebody finds that video, they're always like, "Who's the girl at such and such?" Or,
Yeah.
you know, and all the comments are all
Yeah.
like, you know, "We agree. Oh my god, damn!" You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
But whenever I choose to rewatch one of your videos, it's that one just because of the damn.
Damn.
So yeah, that I think that was one of the videos that I watched. I thought, yeah, I like this dude. I'm going to carry on watching this stuff just for that sense of humor. But then you get videos like this one, Aspen Extreme, and for this little section here.
It must have taken them a long time to hike up here, and hey, their tracks start right there. They got dropped off by a helicopter.
Yeah, again, I admire the sense of humor because, well, a friend of mine and I were discussing old movies recently, why I choose to watch them more than some of the shit that comes out nowadays. And because he says a lot of the effects you can spot, they're really obvious. And I say to him, but the thing with these movies, their beauty lies in their imperfections. And little ones like that, again, I love the sense of humor you put into these little things because I would never have spotted that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, one of the reasons why I end up kind of being able to dissect these movies so much is because I watch them and rewatch them, you know, do the thing, and your eyes wander. And you notice things like, you know, I didn't notice that the first time I saw that, but like the 5th time I saw it, I'm like, hey, you know,
yeah,
like,
because you also point out earlier on in that video, in one guy's glasses, you can see the camera crew.
which that I point out, but that for me is totally forgivable because it's a reflective surface, and sometimes it happens. You know, you may not even notice it when you're filming it, and then later when you're looking at the dailies and you're like, oh, it's a reflection. But then do we really have to go back and reshoot this entire scene? Because, you know, and sometimes it's just not worth it. So I think that's like, it's a fun thing to point out, but it's completely like,
yeah. But again, I appreciate that humor.
Mm-hmm. Or the Leprechaun 4 video where he jumps in and there's the wire is clear. That one I saw the first time, but again, it's a leprechaun in space. Am I really going to be nitpicky about about there being a wire that he came in on? But you know, it's just fun to point out.
Absolutely. But it reminds me of something I said to a friend of mine. We were discussing Highlander because obviously you've got the reboot coming up. And I said to a friend of mine, because I've got the whatever the Immortal Edition, or whatever you want to call it, called, they released on DVD, when McLeod's up in the air like this and he's absorbing the quickening, you can see the wires hanging him up that jacket. And I said, I love seeing shit like this. It's just funny. But another one which I had I don't know if you can call this an unintentional laugh at, but this one of yours, Hard Ticket to Hawaii. This moment.
Charlotte, I'm not just some fast-talking New York television director. I care for you a great deal. Trust me, Charlotte.
You practically raped me last night.
That was last night, Charlotte. This is today.
Many months later.
Not quite sure what to say about that one. I mean, how prophetic that turned out to be.
Yeah. I the funny thing with me, if you've watched enough of my things, or heard, even heard me talking about stuff, I've been ragging on Harvey Weinstein for
Yes, you have.
years,
Yes, you have.
long before any of this nonsense came out. And my whole thing was, and I had talked to many people about this, I'm like, if I am essentially in the grand scheme of things, I am a nobody in the film industry. I am a guy who did some independent, like, little nothing movies with friends. I was a video editor. I worked on some 48-hour film. Like, I know people in the industry, but I'm not like an industry person. And I knew that the shit that he was pulling.
Yeah.
And so for them, when the Me Too thing happened and they were like, we didn't know.
Bullshit.
All knew.
Yeah.
You turned a blind eye because he would be beneficial to your career.
Yeah.
So that always kind of drove me nuts, where I was like, I'm glad that he's being held accountable finally, but he's been a piece of garbage for like 30 years at least.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I remember seeing, I think it was people like Seth MacFarlane make a joke about him at an awards ceremony, and there was another joke about him made on 30 Rock on one episode, and you just sort of look at it and think, how can you people stand there and say you knew nothing?
And then just and they're all laughing, and
Yeah.
it's like, if you like no, you know, or the picture with Oprah where she's like introducing, and it's like, that girl, has some sort of trauma now because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, he's a piece of trash, and I'm glad that he's in jail, but
because I mean, it's similar to something we had over here in the UK a few years back when Jimmy Savile was unmasked as being this mass child predator. And it's certainly known that there were people that knew and kept their mouth shut. And but he had this wonderful gift of being able to hide in plain sight, as it was once described, because I used to watch a topical news show over here called Have I Got News for You? And they discussed that story when it was in the media that week, because many moons ago he'd appeared on the show. And one of the guests said, do we have any footage of it? And the guest host said, yes, here it is. And they played it. And Savile's sitting in his chair, looking like a stereotypical paedophile with a shell suit on, with a cigar. And they were talking about motorhomes. And the host said to him at the time, you lived in a caravan, didn't you? And he said, yeah, I lived in the caravan for 12 years. And someone else said to him, but what do you do in a caravan? And Savile said, anyone I can get my hands on. And you just sort of think, shit. So again, going back to the whole thing with those who knew and didn't know about Weinstein, I don't have much sympathy for them, because these are people that are propped up to be, idolized and all that. But no. So I do get annoyed at stuff like that. But at the same time, like you said, I'm glad he's out now. Sorry, out in the light, because obviously he's banged up.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, okay, he's out, but you absolutely know that there's somebody else, somebody else who's just hasn't been caught yet, so to speak.
Not yet.
Well, who is the? Oh God, what the hell's his name? Not McGee.
Brett Ratner?
No, not Brett Ratner. The guy, Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer. I had a I'm gonna throw an allegedly on this.
Okay, yeah.
But I had a friend who was a pretty well-to-do reporter for like the entertainment industry, and they had a younger high school, like into college age kid who was shadowing him as an intern. And so this was around the time when X-Men 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
And so they went to they went to his apartment to interview him, talking about X-Men 2. And while they were there, like the kid was like younger and he was kind of like a twink. And so Bryan Singer allegedly was all kind of, hey, why don't you, here's my number. Do you want to, would you like to get in? And when they left, my friend was like, give me that thing. Under no circumstances are you to contact this guy. Like,
Mm.
you do not, because that was back before a lot of his shenanigans came out. So it was very, uncomfortable. So I was like, because I was talking to him around then, because I was like, oh man, I'm like, X-Men was so good, it's so good. And he's like, oh, the director is kind of a piece of garbage. I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
Well, the thing
Why
is,
are so many people in this industry?
yeah.
Terrible.
Well, the thing is, what I remember about that is because I've got the DVDs of X-Men 1 to 3 upstairs, and on the first one, they did a special edition. So they called it X-Men 1.5.
I have
And
that.
yeah, and the guy who's on the commentary with Bryan Singer is a guy called Brian Peck, and he was a dialect coach for kids in Hollywood. And you look up the allegations that were made against him because he sexually assaulted, I think it was Josh Peck. If I'm saying the guy's,
Wow.
yeah, which is on that documentary about the Nickelodeon kids. I forget its name now. And when you sort of find that, you think, oh my God, because I've listened to that commentary and I found it informative. But at the same time, because the thing is also, when you see Stan Lee's cameo on the beach in X-Men, Brian Peck is the guy standing next to him. You think, oh my God. But these people, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but they tend to hang around with each other.
Yeah, birds of a feather and all that.
But one more humorous one to mention, I haven't got the video lined up for this because I thought it was just more funny to talk about in person, was talking about Private Resort. And there's that scene where he's in the room with that woman doing that strange meditative yoga, and she's topless and her eyes are literally like this. And you mentioned that someone had said to you, when you can see the whites of a woman's eyes, you know it's a clear warning sign. And I've laughed at that so many times.
That will save your life one day.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a woman and you can see the whites above her eyes, run, don't walk in the opposite direction. That has served me well. Every single woman I've ever met where you could see the whites above her eyes, she's been crazy. So.
But then you've got what I like to call the exploring series, where you go deeper into the behind the scenes stuff. But there are ones where you also sort of, a theme along a lot of them is the interference by the studios, which makes these films sadly into what some of them have become. And the first one that I saw of these series was one it's kind of personal to me because it was one of the first DVDs I ever owned, and that was Disturbing Behavior. And I've got a little clip. I've got it lined up here to a little section to point out because where is it? Yeah, here we are. Disturbing Behavior. So this scene I've chalked up to play.
He showed it to the horror magazine Fangoria, who said, "The once confusing effort now makes complete sense and actually works as an effective study of teen paranoia and small-town conformity. It's a shame the studio didn't trust the director, as well as the first reaction, and just released the original cut. They had a smart, sad tale about a family overcoming grief, and a town that was using tragedy to force people into being what they perceived as good citizens."
Yeah, that one, it strikes me as a real shame because, like I said, it was one of the first DVDs I owned. And it was one of the ones that came in the hard crystal cases back when they first started.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, it's tragic because you've got these wonderful films which are made, and you think these could be really thought-provoking pieces, and then the studio goes and turns it into another teen slasher because that's all the rage at the time. What was it like doing the behind-the-scenes work on this? Did you get to speak to many people that were involved in it?
Briefly was able to get a hold of the director, and he kind of was a little sore about the film. So sometimes I'll get I'll get a director who they don't want to talk about it. Like there's a director who did a film that I didn't even know that there were issues with. I don't want to say because I'm still
That's fair
holding
enough.
out hope that, but they were like he was just like, I want to talk about this movie eventually, but because when I first got a hold of him, the movie was like brand new,
Mhm.
and or should I say, he contacted me, and I was just like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this movie. And he's just like, you know what? It's still a little sore, maybe another time. But as
Yeah.
far as this one's concerned, it was a matter of he's like, I kind of said my piece on the commentary. So if you go and you listen to the commentary track, it really does lay out like everything. And then I was able to I used to know a guy where he had a collection of dailies,
Mm.
and so I was able to get a lot of footage and whatnot, and so I was able to kind of be able to reconstruct what the original cut of the film was supposed to be. And then later, Shout Factory had released a lot of that back. So actually, if you have the ability to, you can take all the footage that was released and then mix that with the extra footage that Shout Factory released and put
Mhm.
together a kind of Franken-film version of what the director's cut was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's longer, it's a little darker, it's not as punchy, but it resonates more. You understand what his brother went through because his brother killed himself, and it was like and it was a murder suicide,
Yeah.
and it hit so much harder. It wasn't just kind of a fun teen
Yeah.
slasher sort of movie. It was kind of poking fun at a little bit of that. And it was a really serious, sad film. And the only thing that it's weird, the two endings for the film,
Mhm.
um, the one where God, what was it? The it's been so long since I've seen the movie. The Gavin, the one where Gavin
Yeah.
lives and the one where Gavin dies. And I think the theatrical cut, Gavin lives because they wanted to do a sequel. And in the original cut, Gavin dies. But I thought that was the better ending,
Yes.
but I didn't like the way that they shot it. I thought that the ending, the him dying was kind of corny.
Mm.
But I think it may have worked a little bit more than the Gavin living, because now he's a teacher and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
But still great movie, really sad. There's been so many movies that I have discovered that have just been destroyed by the
Oh, yeah,
studio.
yeah.
And
Well
then people don't realize that. They're just like, "How would you talk about this movie? It sucks." And I'm like, "Watch the
yeah,
video.
that's
You'll
the point.
understand." Like,
Yeah.
I recently, uh, I had back in 2015, I did a video on Daredevil, the
Mhm.
Ben Affleck movie, and that at the time got taken down by 20th Century Fox. And at the time, I didn't really have the resources to argue with them, so I was just like, "F it," I just left it down. So recently, it was, since it was 2025, I was like, you know what? I want to revisit this. I want to, so I did a much more extensive look into it and talked about everything. And I put the video up, and I forget exactly what I called it, but I was like, how the studio almost ruined the film.
Mm.
And I had people that are like, almost, this movie sucks. And I'm like,
No, it doesn't.
watch the video. Like, even the theatrical cut, I don't think is that bad. I think it's just one of those movies that got a bad rap. But the director's cut is a completely different film. I've had people that are like, I hated the theatrical cut. I saw the director's cut, and I love this movie now.
Yeah, 'cause,
And the
Ellen
studio,
Pompeo's in it. She is Karen Page.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
yeah, the studio just panicked, and they cut out the entire subplot about, him being a lawyer. And I mean, they had him in there as a lawyer, but cut out the whole lawyer subplot, which
Mhm.
directly impacted the film because it was like he was investigating this, and that's how he learned. Because in um the director's cut, he's investigating Coolio's character
Yeah,
and
that's
finds
right.
out that he's got a tie to Kingpin, which eventually is what is he is able to give to the police, which helps to bring down Kingpin at the end. But in
Mm,
the theatrical cut, since that whole subplot's not there, the police just show up and arrest Kingpin because the plot demanded it to. Like, there's
yeah.
no reason why the police would be there to arrest Kingpin in the end of
Mm.
the theatrical cut. And stuff like that is just really irritating because the director fought so hard to make this movie and got the okay to make it, and then just the studio undid it. Another really sad one was this is another thing that I've seen happen repeatedly on the prequel of The Thing.
Hold your thought on that because that's coming up.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
will hold on for that.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention one thing about disturbing behavior before we move on. But
Mhm.
the one deleted scene that hits home the most for me is that scene where he's outside with his dad, and his dad saying how much he loves him. And the thing is,
Mhm.
when I saw that when I first saw the film and that scene, I wasn't a parent. Now I am, and it hits a lot harder for me, especially because his dad thinks that he's failed.
Mhm.
So again, I hope one day that we get to see this restored version, but
Well, apparently, because I had talked to some folks at Shout, and
mhm,
essentially, they said that because of the deal, because sometimes they have released the director's cut of films. They did the Cabal cut of Night Stalker, or
yeah,
Nightbreed. They did
okay,
the
yeah,
and so sometimes they're able to do that. In this case, they got the okay to restore the footage. They got the okay to restore the cut footage, but they said they weren't contractually allowed to release the director's cut. And because basically the studio MGM stepped in and said no. So the only reason I could think of is that because um uh Ethan Embry had a bigger part in the director's cut, they probably would have had to pay him money. So I imagine that's why they didn't want the director's cut out, because then the lawyers could come and say, you owe him X
yeah,
amount of residuals and all that. Because usually that's what it always comes down to,
mm,
is if ever a director's cut gets blocked, it's usually because of something like that. It's usually
yeah.
just money.
Because obviously another one to mention, I haven't got a video lined up for this one, but the Crow City of Angels.
Yes.
Obviously, we mentioned Harvey Weinstein's meddling. This was a prime example of that, and you
Mhm.
did show in this video a few instances where you got the studio version and then the added footage on, and you sort of think, man, I wonder what that could have been like. But then the one that I'm going to talk about next, before we get to the thing, because you actually influenced me here, because I was not aware of this film before you covered it, and you actually convinced me to go out and buy the Blu-ray of this, was Night of the Creeps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because after I saw it, I thought, man, I need to watch this, and especially for that line, "Well, ladies, your dates are here; they're dead." Is what a classic fucking
Classic
line.
line.
Yeah, and if anyone needs to be convinced to buy a Blu-ray, it's this one, because the behind-the-scenes stuff alone is fantastic. But what I noticed about this film is when it gets to the end of it, and you're talking about Fred Decker's unfortunate fate in Hollywood, he's essentially, his career is because of this and other films that he's done. But yet you get those two idiots whose names I don't care to remember, who made films like Meet the Spartans, Epic
Oh.
Movie. They're allowed to keep
Mhm.
making these pieces of shit, but yet Fred Decker, who was one of the most original minds at the time, can't get the film off the ground. And I find that both tragic and infuriating. And I know for that film, you did actually speak to Fred Decker for quite a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I interviewed him for like 2 hours.
Cool.
And great man. You wanna talk about somebody who likes to talk,
Hmm.
which is awesome. Like, I love that. I love, when you get somebody who, because there's some people that I've spoken to that are industry folks, and they're reserved, like, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna say this," or he is just like, he's had it. He's just
Yeah.
like, "Here, I'm gonna tell you, this sucks." That, like, it was refreshing. But I talked to him for a long ass time. talked to him about Monster Squad, talked to him about Night of the Creeps, talked to him about his work on RoboCop 3, like what happened there, like how that basically was the nail in the coffin of his career at the time. Just about
Such a
how
shame.
it's such a shame because he really had like the company was going bankrupt as they were making the film. And so every day they would come in and be like, okay, well, you can't shoot this now. You can't do this now. You can't do this now. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to make a film? And then, and then when it bombs, the studio that went bankrupt, it wasn't their fault. It was the fault of the director who really tried to hobble all this stuff together. And it was just a disaster. It was a shame, but really interesting guy. Told me a depressing story. He wanted to remake, or I'm sorry, he's been wanting to make a Monster Squad sequel forever.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a great idea. He's like, it kind of at the time, because God, I talked to him like 10 years ago or something at this point. He's like, it's kind of a little more current. So at the time, current was like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's like,
Mhm.
it's a little more kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's like, so it still feels very Monster Squad. He's like, but it's now a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well. He's like, but I had this really great idea. He's like, I think it would be fantastic. I brought it to the studios and they were like, no, we don't want to do it. But so they were like, we will give you I'm a little rusty. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm going to estimate. They're like, we'll give you $1 million to produce, to make this movie, or we'll give you $20 million to buy the rights to the film so we can remake it. And he's like, well, no, I want to make my own sequel. The movie doesn't need to be remade. And they're
No.
like, well, we think differently. And
Yeah.
so they would rather pay an exorbitant amount of money to him to buy it so they could remake it instead of giving him a proper budget so that he could. And he wasn't even asking for like that much comparatively. I think at the time he wanted like 15 million or something to like make the sequel. And that's a lot to us, but in Hollywood, pocket change, that's the Kraft lunch table,
So then to get to obviously The Thing, and I've got a clip lined up on that one, which I will just share now because, of course, typically I clicked on the wrong bit. So yeah, so there's this bit to talk about behind the scenes here.
Here's some of the practicals they covered up. The hand face hugger that kills Jonas. The Wolner Finch thing. The Juliet thing. They went out of their way to create these amazing monsters and expand upon the brilliant work Bottin did in the original. Instead of giving us that, they gave us a version with rushed CGI and a majorly truncated ending. I enjoyed the story in the prequel, which makes the bad CG even worse. They did an excellent job of recapturing the fear and isolation of the original, while still telling its own story. If they would have released the pilot version, I'm sure the film would have been held in a much higher regard and seen as a proper companion to the original, instead of a cheap knockoff.
Yeah. See, that bit at the end where you see his face split a la CGI, I don't like much modern CGI because you can see it a mile off, and that was one of those examples. But when after I watched your video, I realized, wow, that is why that film was so shit. So obviously you were going to say something about it, so take it away.
I had worked on that for a long time. I talked a little bit to the director and Studio ADI, and Studio ADI like loved the video that I did, and they actually invited me to come out and get a tour of the studio.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, when that happened, me and my wife just had our first child. And I was just like, I can't. And if you're a parent, that once you have a kid, time enters this weird nebulous thing where it's like, it's 5 years later.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I was like, I would love to come out. I'm like, but I just had a baby. I need to kind of get my life, and it just, time flew by, and now here we are 10 years later, and I'm like, I don't think that invitation is still open.
That's a shame.
So that's a bump. But, because I would have had to fly out to California by myself and all that. And it would have been really cool. I would have loved to have done that. But my wife at the time was exhausted because, having a baby is, takes a lot out of you. And so I was there to be supportive. And next thing it's just years go by. But still, I've had so many people that um, wouldn't even watch the thing video. They would just jump in the comments and say this movie sucked. And some of them, well, I would comment, I'm like, watch the video. And
Yeah.
then sometimes they wouldn't, and that's fine. But then sometimes they'd be like, oh, wow. Like you said,
Yeah.
oh, every problem in that movie came down to the bad CG.
Yeah.
And the entire third act of the film is completely different.
Mm.
The entire third act of the film that we got was not what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be finding the pilot alien and finding out that the thing was originally in like it was this alien that was going around collecting other aliens, and it like escaped, and that's how it got onto Earth. So many cool little things that we just didn't get, and it was covered up with really awful CG.
Oh,
And
it
the thing
was.
was, the guys that worked on it, they're like, we will give credit where it's due. The team that worked on the visual effects, the CGI that covered up the bad CG,
Mm.
they did it on a very rushed timeline.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily their fault that it came out bad. It was just the fact that normally they would have like a year to work on this, and they had like a couple of months to work on
Yeah.
it. And so essentially what this came down to, because now I remember what I was originally going to say back when, the reason why this happened to begin with was because when they signed on to do this, when the director was Eric Hessier, had made this, he's like, I want to make this look like the 80s. I want
Yeah.
this to be a movie that looks like it is a proper prequel. Because there's so many movies that come out where they're all flashy and they don't look
Yeah.
like they're. He's like, I want this to look. So he did the whole thing. They did all the practicals and everything. And then there was a regime change at I think it was Universal or whoever was producing it. And they had a new producer who came in who looked at the movie and said, this looks like it's from the 80s. It's old and outdated. We need to, and came in, and he was the one who mandated that they go in and cover up all the practicals with CG. And then when the film comes out and it bombs, what's the number one complaint is that all the bad CG. Like
Yeah.
everybody that has complained about the movie, most of them haven't really complained about the story. They haven't, they all complained about the look. They complained about the bad CG. And again, the producer skated, no backlash on him. Nobody cares. And unfortunately, it really screwed up the director's career. And it was a damn shame because he was like, he had nothing but love for this, and it just didn't happen. And it's sad because he had said the pilot cut, as it's called, exists. It's
Yes.
done. Aside from like maybe a little bit of color grading and whatnot, it absolutely exists. But the studio will not release it. So
That's
unless,
such a strange thing to hear.
yeah, but because in their mind, the movie came out, it was a failure, move on. If they put the money into finishing it and re-releasing it, it's just gonna bomb again. It's to them, it's not worth it. Meanwhile, you have companies that are restoring things and are fixing things. So maybe if one, I mean, I know, I think Mill Creek actually was the ones that ended up with the thing. But if Vinegar Syndrome or Severin, or I think Vinegar Syndrome might, because they've been kind of doing a little bit more kind of mainstreamy stuff lately. I mean, they have weird outlandish stuff. God, I have a whole shelf that is just nothing but Vinegar Syndrome movies. But if they get it, I could see them maybe trying to push and getting the director's cut.
Mm.
That would be fantastic, because looking at all the footage and looking at the storyboards and so much that has come from that, it would be absolutely fantastic yet. And it would be a little not cathartic. It would be like the director would be like, look, this is what the movie was supposed
Yeah.
to be. And I think it would probably get people. I mean, you're still going to get people that are like, oh, the movie still sucks. But, you're always going to have negative people out there.
Yeah.
But I think there would still be a lot of people that would see it and see it for what it was and be like, oh my God, why didn't they just release this? And it's like, exactly.
So obviously with your exploring series, you do really longer videos where you deep dive into how a movie was born and how it came to be. And I'll cover some more of those in a second, but I did want to give a mention to the I Roll It, I Review It videos. Because I think you've said on YouTube that these didn't do as well as you liked, but I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun. It was something new and it was refreshing. And again, you approach some of them with a bit of humor, because my favorite was the Estella Warren one, Lies and Crime.
Oh, Lies and Crimes.
Yeah,
Stella Warren in a half shirt.
Yeah, yes, please. Because I had to laugh because when it shows the picture of the quote unquote movie poster for that one, and her top's like this, I'm like,
and she's got the hard nipples, and I went in expecting a completely different movie.
Yeah. But I enjoyed those videos, and it's a shame they didn't do well, because I love the whole sort of dice mechanic which you were doing. Is there anything you want to say about those before we move on, or is it just a case
Absolutely. Essentially, YouTube. Not to go down this rabbit hole too far, but YouTube.
Well, I'm going to mention the whole YouTube thing at the end, so if you want to leave that for later, we can.
Well, I mean, I could kind of go. I'll mention it briefly. YouTube is really frustrating. Whenever you want to try something new, they don't like it. I don't. I don't get it. I don't understand, because the thing is, my whole thing is, if you tune into NBC, it's 80 gajillion different shows.
Yeah.
But you go to a YouTube channel, and really they've got maybe like one or two different shows. And then if you try to do something different, you get people that scream, oh, start a new channel. It's like, well, you don't understand. Starting a new channel is a pain in the ass, because then you have to upload everything there. You have to move over to there whenever you want to, check comments and whatnot. And it's also really annoying, because there are, if you do, like, I've been monetized on YouTube for 15 years, and I started up a new, I decided that I was going to move the I Roll It, I Review It to a separate channel, because I do really believe in it. I think that it does have legs, because I've had so many people like you that are telling me, I love this, it's great. Like, it's the most positively I've had, or like, I've had on something that I've done, like, overwhelmingly, like, every now and then people are like, oh, I like this more than I like this, or I like the exploring videos, but I don't like your GoodBadFlicks videos. I've had so many people. I've gone to conventions where I've been a guest, and I've had people coming up to me and be like, dude, I love your videos, but man, do I love those Roll It, Review It's. They're so fun.
Yes, they are.
I was like, and the thing is, for me too, I've been doing this a really long time, and it's hard to find a lot of movies that are worth watching, because it's, you kind of have to go by recommendations or whatnot. And so doing it this way, it forces me to watch something. And I've discovered a lot of movies that I would not have seen otherwise, and movies that I really enjoyed. So what I did was I bit the bullet and I started a sub channel. But what really sucks there is, you still have to reach the amount to be able to get monetized. So you need 1,000 subscribers, which I actually got like the day I announced the channel, which was awesome. But 4,000 watch hours. And when you're doing short videos, it's really hard to reach 4,000, because I wasn't doing them as shorts. I tinkered with that, but then I found that was a complete waste of time. So then what I did was I uploaded the original, however many of them there were, as seasons. I broke them into like 20, 20, and 9 or whatever there were. And I put them up, and because that gave me enough time to bank a lot of older episodes and to kind of get my watch hours up. So right now I'm at 3,000 watch hours over there. And I'm hoping that once I get to the 4,000, then I'll be able to start monetizing them, and that'll kind of make it, nice. But But I really believed in them. I love doing them, and they're fun. And
Yes.
I got so burnt out on movies in general, because I've been doing this for so long, and I'm watching like tons of movies a week. But it's really neat to be introduced to movies that, like I never would have watched Culpa Mia on my own, and then I watch it, and I'm like, I don't like this, but I really like this. And to me, I thought that was funny because I'm being honest. Like, I think there are a lot of reviewers out there that wouldn't admit that they liked something like that. And so I had a lot of comments from people that are like, if you just want to review romance movies, I'm unsubscribing. And I'm like, dude, grow up. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm watching, like, and I'm even saying, I'm like, I don't normally like this kind of thing, but there was something about it that won me over. I really enjoyed it. If this sounds interesting to you, check it out. If not, I've got plenty of movies from Andy Sidaris that I'm going to be talking about soon enough.
Yeah.
So, which is great. Like, I mean, that's my bread and butter. I love the full moon movies. I love the Andy Sidaris movies. I love, the exploitation stuff, all kinds of fringes. And as far as the exploring videos go, I love being able to tell a good story. I love
Yes.
being able to talk about the trials and tribulations that they went through to get these films made. And it's just good old fashioned entertaining. It's interesting.
Yes.
And the Roll It review, it was just a chance for me to watch something and to not really have to put a shit ton of work into it, just to be like, hey, I watched this movie. I'm going to talk about it for a couple minutes and throw it up there. And they were doing so, but then like they were doing well enough that I was like thinking about kind of keeping them going on the main channel. But then in October, when YouTube did the purge, audiences, I've talked to big channels that lost 50% of their audience.
Mm.
I am lucky in that I have a pretty loyal fan base, and I only lost like 30% of my audience. Because there's a lot of them that they're just not getting. What it really comes down to is there are people that just aren't getting recommended my videos anymore. Even if they rang the bell, even if they subscribed, like they just, because I get people that are like, oh my God, I haven't seen one of your videos in years. I thought you quit. And I'm like, look, until you see a video of me announcing that I am quitting, I am not quitting. I love doing this. This is all I want to do. This is all I'm good at. I want to continue to do this. So I'm doing that. And I got the Roll It Review It videos. New ones are starting next Wednesday. Where they were going to start a while ago, but the motherboard on my computer blew up. And so that set me back like a month because the motherboard blew up and it took my hard drive with it. And so I had to, have that. I had to get a new motherboard. I had to get a new CPU. I had to get a hard drive. Thankfully, I was able to clone the dying hard drive. And so, I'm back up and running and things are good. But that really screwed me up because the girl who I have a friend of mine who is like my PC repair go-to lady. She built like the last 3 computers for me. And I was like, hey, can you fix this? And she's like, I can't. So I had to take it to like a PC repair place and they were all backed up. And so everything took forever. And I was working on I was editing on a 15-year-old Microsoft Surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great that I had that ability to do so, but at the same time, it was slow. And when you're doing stuff on the internet, you gotta
absolutely.
So anyway, I'm rambling, but yes, the Roll It reviews are coming back and I'm really happy. And I'm gonna give them like a year and I'm gonna see how they do. And hopefully they do well because they're fun and I would like to be able to keep doing them. And I've discovered right now I've got 21 films in the pipeline that I've watched and I've reviewed. So I have a nice buffer zone that are done. So a wide variety of stuff like I've gotten documentaries, I've got dramas, I've got comedies, and yes, I got some horrors, and I got some really cool movies, and I got some real bad movies. So it's going to be fun. I hope they do well this time.
Well, I've got some good ones to discuss with you now because obviously going into exploring videos again with the more deep dive ones. I personally am very, very paranoid when it comes to remakes.
Mhm.
But one which you covered and is one of my favorite remakes is, of course, The Crazies. Now, this bit in particular of your video I like.
One night, while still location scouting, the director and one of the producers made a wrong turn and ended up at a truck stop that had just gone out of business. The owner just so happened to be there and agreed to let them use it for the movie. They spent 3 weeks setting up the location and filming, which they never would have been able to do anywhere else. The movie was released on February 26th.
Yeah. So little
Mhm.
anecdotes like that, I absolutely love hearing about because finding a place because of a wrong turn is just a brilliant thing in itself. But as you point out in this video, The Crazies is a remake done right. And I've watched it a couple of times now, and I love the truck stop scene a lot. But the one that always gets me in that scene is where at the beginning the guy just casually walks onto that baseball pitch with a shotgun, and
Mhm.
then something's not right, and then this film just goes off from there.
Yeah, it's a terrific film. It actually didn't I don't remember the budget off the top of my head, but I know that it was not an expensive film either.
It was something like 10 million, I think.
Yeah, it was like 10 or 15 million or something.
Mm,
Like for as good as it looks, and for the scope of it, it really was not that expensive. I think that I've said this before, I'm gonna repeat it, but I always say the best remakes are the ones that take the kernel idea, the essentially the base idea, and then go in a completely different direction with it.
yeah.
For example, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. It
Mm,
is zombie apocalypse at a mall.
yes.
Completely different film. You can watch that one, you can watch the remake back to back and have two separate experiences. The Crazies is the same thing. The original was taken more from like the government side of
Yeah.
things. They were trying to find the cure and all this. And this, it was just the people in the location that are trying to survive.
Yeah.
Completely different. It's two different angles. And it's not a remake, but this is kind of a good point to that. Because it's a pivot of what Cloverfield ended up being.
Yeah.
Cloverfield was a Godzilla movie from the street.
Yeah.
So, like something like that. Like there are so many ideas out there that you could make really cool original ideas if you just kind of looked at, hey, here's this idea. Let's do it a little bit differently instead of just taking the idea and then just doing a copy paste, because
Yeah.
there's so many movies where they remake it and they do it shot for shot, scene for scene, and it's garbage. And
Yes.
it's like, why are you going to take a classic film and do the exact same thing? Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to do that, because all you're going to do is end up with an inferior product that
Mhm.
people are going to compare to the original. I had mentioned I did a video talking about how much like just can't stand remakes because they're lazy. Where I was
That's
talking
what's
about
coming up.
the remake of Carrie. The director, when he got the rights to do this, is another case of studio meddling.
Yeah.
When he got the rights to do that, he's like, I will only do this if I can adapt the book, because the book and the original movie are very different.
Yeah.
So they were like, absolutely, adapt the book, adapt the book. So he adapted the book and did it very close. And then the producers watched his director's cut and said, this is nothing like the first movie. And they went back, spent however many millions of dollars to reshoot it, to make it into the first movie. Like, he had gone on interviews saying, this is going to be like the book, this is going to be like the book. And then the studio went in and they basically forcibly, beat it into submission to make it into the first movie. And all these people were like mad. They're like, you lied. And he's like, I didn't lie. I shot but they wouldn't let me release that. And if you go and like on the IMDb and look at the uncredited people, look at
Yes.
all the
Yeah.
people, like there are dozens of people that were cut from the film because all those scenes that were like the original movie were removed so
Yeah.
that they could make it more like the first film instead of like the book. And that was a big one. That was infuriating to me, where, like, again, the director's career got completely sidelined because he got screwed over by the studio.
It's a shame. But again, going back to the Crazies, I love this movie. I've watched it a
Mm.
few times now, and the one scene that always sticks in my head is the scene where he's walking. His wife's been taken at this point, and he's walking next to another husband who's saying, "Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Sod my wife." And he goes to him, "I'll tell you what. You explain to me why you can, leave your wife behind, and I'll tell you why I can't." And then he just goes, and obviously the rest of the movie happens. I always like that scene. And Timothy Olyphant, in my mind, is such an underrated actor.
Yeah.
When I see him in saying, I know that it's going to be a good movie, which is why I'm a fan of his.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, like, even if the movie's bad, you know that he's going to deliver. Like, he'll give a great performance in a bad movie. He'll give a great performance in a great movie, you know? But yeah, he's terrific. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah. And then on to the next one, which is, this movie is one of my favorites. Event Horizon.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Now, I'll go into a little bit of this in a moment, but to play this section here.
Years after its release, Anderson wanted to get the cut footage and take the time to assemble a proper director's cut. So he and Jeremy Bolt went looking for the lost footage. When the film was released in '97, DVDs were relatively new, so most studios weren't keeping cut footage around for a possible different cut down the line. Anderson searched all over the globe and finally tracked the remaining footage in a salt mine in Transylvania, of all places.
Now,
I actually have a reason. Well, if you're going to ask why, I have the reason why, but
we'll get to it. But
okay.
To give my personal slant on this first, I saw this movie in the cinema when it came out. It's one of my favorites because I love sci-fi horror. In particular, I have this version of it on DVD.
Nice.
Yeah, because it did come out on Blu-ray. But hear that creak as I open it. But I just love this version because I love this case. And even if you can, I don't know if you can see inside, that's inside the case.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I've kept this ever since because it's like you said, transferring some of your Blu-ray, your DVDs to Blu-rays. I saw no reason to do that with this one.
Absolutely. No, that's like a collector's item. You know, that's not just like the movie. That's, the case and all that. That's awesome.
Yeah. But again, I love sci-fi horror, and take it away because you say you know why this happened.
Well, as far as like, because when I first looked into it, and I was like, a salt mine in Transylvania, and then I found out that because salt mines are temperature regulated,
okay,
they are the best places for storage because the stuff in there, it's not going to grow mold. It's not, it's dry and it's temperature regulated. So the footage, because there are a lot of places that they've stored footage and the footage has rotted or it's gone bad and they had to do a lot of restoration. So in something like this, they have vaults that are just with pristine, whatever it is, with film, with props, with antiques. They just have these giant, because once they drill out the location, they just have these big open areas, and so it's a perfect location to kind of store some of this kind of stuff. So yeah, they found it, and they have the cut footage, but again, Paramount doesn't want them to release the director's cut. And I think that in the case of somebody like Paul Anderson, I imagine this was one of his earlier films. This was like his second or third film.
Was. Yeah.
And I mean, dude made bank on the Resident Evil movies. So I'm pretty sure he probably would be willing to pay to get the director's cut released, to get it restored. But you still have to go through the studio, and the studio just, for whatever reason, they don't feel like dealing with it. And it's a shame because it is a great film, and there's a lot. I don't think that I don't think the cut footage would change the movie all that much. Not like The Thing where the cut
Yeah.
footage was completely changed the movie. I think it would just make it would make it better. But it wouldn't make it like, oh my God, it's a completely different film. It's
No.
just a lot more of like the violence and some, odds and ends in here. I think it would just be more interesting. It would flesh the film out more. Kind of like the director's cut of Aliens, where like there's
Yes.
there's the hallway scene with where they're fighting off the aliens before they get into the room. Like it just kind of it enhances the experience and
Mm.
it's interesting. So I think that would be something along the lines. And it just would be cool to freaking see. It's like I've
Yeah,
seen the movie a
absolutely.
million times. It would be like seeing it like new again, so to speak.
Mm.
Like I recently watched the director's cut of The Wizard, the Fred Savage film.
Mm.
And that is a completely different film. It actually, the director's cut made that one so much better because it explained a lot more about the characters, explained like why the kid wanted to go to California. It showed like his home life. It showed it was a much more complete film. It actually kind of made it a little bit more of a family drama instead of this I mean there was obviously the kids on the road part, but it did make it more of a family drama. And there was god about 30 minutes of cut footage in that because it ended up
Yeah.
being like 2 hours long. And it was so much better. And again, it's another one of those, this would have been a better film if you would have trusted the director and released it as it was. But
Yeah.
yeah, Event Horizon,
Yeah.
maybe one day, you know,
Yeah.
it would be great. I'd love
I
to see it.
I always love the anecdote you put in there at the beginning where he flicks open the blinds of the station. You can hear the door from the Doom sound effect opening.
Mhm.
Because I remember seeing it in the cinema, and I don't know why, but that sound effect made me jump in my seat,
Mm.
and I always wondered if I'd heard it right. But then when you mentioned it, you thought, "Oh my god, that was the Doom sound effect." So, yeah, I enjoy that. Uh, Now this one you talk about, this is one of your shorter, exploring videos, but again, this is one that I loved when I saw it, and this is the Chernobyl Diaries.
Mm.
Now, uh this part of the video in particular, I really appreciated what you said here.
To all the people who weren't affected by Chernobyl but still felt the need to protest the film, are you aware there's a popular PC series called Stalker, where you're a scavenger who enters the Zone, which is the irradiated lands in and around Chernobyl? Stalker too obscure? Okay, how about the biggest game series on the planet, Call of Duty? In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there's a pivotal level in the game where you have to fight your way through Chernobyl to Pripyat until finally you're rescued by the Ferris wheel. Alright, so you say it's because the movie's done as a horror film. Well, what about the overwhelming amount of movies where war is played as a comedy? Nazi zombies? Nazis on the moon? I realize that this is a terrible tragedy, but why wasn't there the same level of protest for World Trade Center or Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close?
Yeah.
It's a great point to raise.
Because I remember when it came out, because I saw it and I was like, okay, it's not a great film, but it is a good, like, kind of like a neat little horror film.
Yeah,
It was enjoyable.
It creeped the absolute shit out of me.
I got a big thank you from the director.
Good.
Because I couldn't get a hold of him. Because sometimes I have to go off of archival stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
because a lot of times if it's the shorter it is, there's a good chance that I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody, and I just wanted to do the video. But
Mm.
the director reached out to me and was like, honestly, I appreciate the kind words, because you're one of the few people that actually talk positively about this film.
Oh,
And I'm like, dude, it was really good. And I'm like, I wish you all the best. I think that the critics just were looking at something to piss and moan about.
Yeah.
It's offensive, and it's like, but
No,
I mean, I spoke for myself. How many other things have come out that nobody had a problem with?
yeah. I mean, one of the parts of that video which always fascinated me was when you talk about the CGI used in the film and how subtle it was.
Mm.
Because again, until I watched your video, I'd never twigged that the Ferris wheel was CGI from the stand upwards. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. I love that. Like see that I have a friend of mine who used to work for ILM, and I've talked to him at great lengths about CG.
Yeah.
And he's like, the biggest problem with CG is when it is CG the way that it's supposed to be, you don't know it. He's like, but when it's bad, you know it.
Oh God,
So
yeah.
that's why everybody hates CG, is because when it's bad, they just assume that it's all bad. Whereas there are so many instances like the Ferris wheel where it's there and you think it's a miniature, you think maybe it's a matte painting, you think no, that was like actually
Yeah.
CG and it was done properly.
Well, the reason I get so annoyed with CG is my favorite movie of all time is Terminator 2.
Oh, nice.
And the CG for the T-1000 is groundbreaking. And for those who don't know, that's about the only CG that's used in the film. But yet when you get to Terminator Dark Fate, the CG in that, in particular for whatever the new Terminator is, I don't care to call it whatever, it's fucking awful. So that's why I get as annoyed as I do about CG.
Well, that's what drives me nuts is it's like how well
got
again,
worse.
I know the answer to it is that they used to like computers now are so much faster.
Yes.
So they can render stuff and but the thing is still they have this weird fix it and post mentality.
Yes, that's right.
Where they will do they won't give them enough pre-production time. Or this is a big one again, talking to my buddy who was from ILM.
Yeah.
What happens is, do you ever watch a movie and some of the CG is like, it's CG because obviously this wouldn't exist, but it's amazing. It looks great. And then other times you're like, this looks like shit.
Yes.
It's because when you have these giant tentpole $300 million movies, they don't just hire one studio to do the effect. They hire multiple studios with multiple timelines. So this studio maybe has a year to work on this effect, but this studio's got 2 months. And so that's why you have some effects that come out and they look amazing and other ones that look like absolute garbage. It's not the fault of like all the studios. And it's not even the fault of the one studio. It's because they basically were given a thing and they said, hey, make this work. In the case of something like the Green Lantern movie, they did these they had a lot of pre-production time on that, and so they did these really amazing, beautiful Green Lantern effects where it looked like the real thing, only green. And the director saw the effects and said, no, I want whenever Hal uses like his thing, whenever he creates a car or whatever, I want it to look fake. And so now they only had a couple of months, so they went back and they made all of this look like garbage.
Yeah.
And again, what did people have a problem with? Everything looks fake.
Yeah. So the next one to talk about is another one of my favorites. And I remember watching this for the first time when I was a teenager at BBC Two on a Saturday night in my room. And it had a lasting impact on me because, again, this was a damn good remake. And that is, of course, The Blob.
Ah, I love The Blob.
Yeah. Now, this bit in particular I'm going to talk about because I find this part amusing.
Russell was a producer by trade, so he knew how they operated. Towards the end of production, there were 2 big effects shots that took all day. These were the ones where the Blob was on Main Street. He looked at the dailies, and they didn't work. He said, we got to do this again. Let's try one more time. They got a call from the producers who said to move on. Russell still wanted the shots, so he knew how to fix this. He told the effects guys to go set up the shots and said, no one answer the phone. They got the shots they needed and then answered the phone.
Bravo. Like, that's the thing. When a good director. Now, unfortunately, sometimes you could be the best director in the world and you're going to get hosed by a producer. But if you are a good director, you think on your feet and you do something like that, where it's just like nobody answered the phone. And because that was the thing. And then the next thing is like, after they got the shots, they got the phone. Oh, we're sorry. We didn't, because it all comes down to smart stuff like that.
Yes.
The Blob. Bravo, man. They did such, but that one follows my rule. It takes the basic idea, goes in a completely different direction with it.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal remake.
Yeah.
Really, I think over time, more because people always talk about The Thing and The Fly as 2 of the best remakes of all time, which they are.
Yes.
But then The Blob, I really think that like is the holy Trinity trilogy of remakes. All 3 of them are fantastic, and each one amazing practical effects, each one amazing story, each one just done by somebody who gets it and somebody who loves the product.
Yes.
It is so good. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Blob, I adore the
Because,
Blob.
well, I remember the way it got me was because obviously the first main death at the beginning was the kid you think's going to be the hero, and oh shit, that made an impression. But
Yeah.
then you've got some of the deaths later on, like the woman in the phone booth who's like fuck, and
Just
then
crushes her.
yeah, but then the one that's still imprinted on my brain to this day. I mean, can you guess what I'm going to say?
All right, so you did the kid, you
Yep.
did
It's the no, it well, I've just
not the kid, not the I mean the first kid who dies, that was the big shocker. Because that's even, I mean, they even used that in the marketing, but you didn't know who it was, and then you're like, oh god, it's the kid. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who the guy like it would have been. I'm trying to think of one of the other. When the woman is in the phone booth and she's waiting for Cliff DeYoung to come, and then she sees his body pressed up against the phone booth, so you know that like, oh, he's dead already.
no, it's not that one.
No, okay,
No.
all right.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It's when they kill the kid in the sewer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. Yeah.
No, because I'd seen plenty of horror movies up to that point, and then when they kill the kid by first of all dragging him away, you know, in the water, and I was literally I was like watching it laying in bed, sort of propped up with the pillow like that, and then when it happened, I literally sat up and went, "No, they didn't." And then when he reappears, melting, like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, he's not coming back from that.
Because I've seen plenty of horror movies before, and you know the kid is always saved. But in this one, no, they weren't messing around. They killed the kid in this one. You think, damn, son.
Yeah, that's brutal. Because it's funny, like in general, from I'd say anything in the 70s and down is usually where like nobody's safe. Like they'll kill kids because I mean, God, in Assault on Precinct 13, little girl goes up to an ice cream truck, bang, you know. So it's like whoa. But I think in general, now especially, kids are just they just have plot armor out the wazoo, and no, I don't want to see children dying in movies, but if you're watching a movie and you know that the kid is 100% going to survive, it does kind of take a bit of the punch out of it, because you know that nothing bad is going to happen to him.
Yeah, and again, I don't see kids die in films either, but plot armor is a thing, and unfortunately, if you want to deal with this stuff like that has to happen in the story. I mean, but again, I'm not a director. What the hell do I know? But one of the final ones to discuss with you is one that's particularly close to my heart, and that is, of course, Silent Hill. Now,
Absolutely.
Now, I was a massive fan of the video game. I'm a massive fan of the series. And when you talk about not replacing DVDs with Blu-rays because of different versions, I don't buy many of these, but I've got the steel book of Silent Hill, and I it's one of my treasured ones. And it's kind of funny because you open it up and it's got a sample disc for the Omen remake, which you don't tend to see many of these nowadays. But I never got to see Silent Hill in the cinema, but I got to see. But obviously bought it on DVD when it came out, and I adore this film. And I'm going to play this section here.
For the Great Children, he hired deaf and mute actors. He asked them to talk, sing, shout, and was able to take those noises and manipulate them with sound tools. The actors enjoyed this because they said it was something they rarely have the opportunity to do. He asked the dancers to make fake orgasm sounds, which they also modified in post, make very creepy, weirdly erotic sounds. While working on the film, Gans knew the games had a very passionate fan base. He went on various gamer message boards and asked questions, took suggestions, and listened to fans talking about what they'd love from the games. He was making this movie for them.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so good.
Yeah. And to this day, video game adaptation, I still think it's one of the best ones. Because again, you've got the original music used in it. It looks so authentic, even though obviously it's based on Centralia.
Which I've been to.
Yes, yeah, I remember you saying. But obviously, you did 2 videos on this. You did the first exploring, and then the more in-depth one, which is this one. And I know it's also personal to you because you've got to relate this whole thing with your dad when he was still around because it was what you did, and you wanted to show him what you did. I mean, what do you have to say about this whole thing?
It was a big deal to me to do because this was actually years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
When I had somebody had suggested, oh, you got to do a good bad flicks on Silent Hill, and I thought that there was something to talk about, but I didn't want to like poke fun at it because it's not the kind of movie you make fun of. And so this was actually the original Silent Hill video I did was the first exploring video.
Yep.
And it was kind of an accident, so to speak. Like I did it because I was like, I didn't want to badmouth this movie. I want to talk about it. So I looked into its history and I put the video out, and it did well. And people were like, that was really interesting. And I was like, you know what? It was really fun to do. And it was a nice departure for me. And so when the new Silent Hill was coming out, I was like, you know what? This would be a perfect time to revisit Silent Hill and talk about a lot of the stuff that I did, because I've learned so, I mean, my craft has gotten better,
Yes.
but also I've learned so much more about the film in the past 20 years that I really think that it would be interesting to revisit. So I talked all about it, and there is. I could have gone if I would have had more time. I probably could have added another half hour onto there. There's so many layers to this movie, and so I was incredibly excited that he finally got the opportunity to do Silent Hill 2, and I was in the theater opening weekend, or actually opening day,
Yeah.
to see it.
Hold your thoughts on that.
Oh, okay.
We're going to come to that, I promise. But
Okay,
carry on with this one.
Yeah, I adore Silent Hill. It is a very special movie to me, and I'm glad that I was able to kind of put this out and really talk about it. And I think in general, most of the comments were positive. Like, of course, you're going to get the negative, people. Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
But no, I had a lot of people that were like, no, this is a really, really great film. And just, I mean, even if you don't like the film, I think you can appreciate it from an artistic standpoint of just how good looking it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it is phenomenal. It is such a great film. And I mean, it is something where, and the influences, Uritsaka Doji influenced this film, I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I think Gans just absolutely, because the thing is, if you've gone back and if you've ever seen any of his other films, you've seen Crying Freeman,
I've seen
you can
Brotherhood.
tell like he is one of us, so to speak. He is a fan that also is a really talented director, and I think that he just captured lightning in a bottle with the Silent Hill movie. The fact that he was able to make it, and then I also managed to cut the biggest problem that people have with it is the Sean Bean subplot.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
So I have a cut of that with the subplot removed, and it does move a lot. It is a snappier film. It doesn't like, because honestly, the Sean Bean subplot isn't supposed to be there at all.
No.
And it really does. It doesn't ruin the film at all, but it does slow the pacing down. And I do think that his original cut is the superior film. But even in the regular theatrical version, it exists and it's fine. And I don't know, there was a guy who found the original.
Yes, I've read about this. Yeah,
and he's working with Christoph to get that on Blu-ray in some capacity, because there are still some subtle changes. There's some visual effects or some things that were different. So it is more along the lines of what he initially put together, but there's still some changes. So I am really hoping, like they swear up and down that they're working on a remaster, and that's going to come out at some point soon, probably next year, I think, at this point. But I will absolutely be willing. I have it on DVD. I bought it on Blu-ray. I bought a remastered Blu-ray, an imported Blu-ray. I've got I have so much Silent Hill. I freaking my table mat is fucking Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I adore Silent Hill.
You've got the symbol of Metatron on your desk as well, haven't you?
I do. I got the symbol of I got the Metatron over, like, actually it's over there right now, but yeah, I've got so much Silent Hill shit. I adore it dearly.
It's also one of those rare cases where a director's cut of a film is the one where scenes are removed, which you don't hear of very often.
Yeah. Where it's crazy. Like, that's the thing. It's actually the shorter version is the director's cut.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of other videos I wanted to mention briefly before we get on to the last couple of topics, because you've also delved into videos on remakes, trailers, and you obviously make a point in the video that the amount of money that gets spent on these remakes, you could have divvied them up into much smaller productions and come out with something new and original, because nowadays everything's a fucking remake or a reboot. And one of my favorite films from last year was Weapons, which was, I think, only a $50 million budget, and it took something like 300 million. And again, great little horror movie that scared the absolute shit out of me when I saw it. But you do make the point that a lot of this stuff got way out of hand, especially after the lockdowns. What can you give some brief thoughts on that?
Well, essentially, just a quick thing. What happened was, studios made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the theater.
Yeah.
And then COVID happens, nobody can go to the theater. And so they lost hundreds of millions of dollars. And so what happened was, in retaliation to that, or because of that, or whatever you want to say, they started looking into, okay, we need to figure out a way to be able to make money, but make money and not have to spend a lot of money. So you had Disney looking at like, okay, well, look at our back catalog. What can we do? Well, we've got all these animated films. Let's make them all live action. Doesn't matter. It doesn't, if it's a year old, we're gonna do Moana. We're gonna do a live action version of it.
That's coming out.
Lilo and Stitch. So they're looking. They basically said, every animated film they're going to do a live action. They're going to do at least one, if not more, multiple, because they did that with the Lion King. They did the Lion King, and then the Lion King, whatever the hell, live action. It was, just and the thing is, they come and go.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand. I'm doing a video talking about this. Basically, they come out, they make $1 billion, and then they leave no cultural footprint whatsoever.
No, they don't.
Like, they come out, and I don't know who was seeing them, but they made a shit ton of money, and then they vanished, and nobody talks about them anymore.
No.
Whereas even like some of these little crappy films from 50 years ago, people are still talking about.
Yeah.
But these films that cost $300 million, they're just coming, they're making money, and they're in the top 10 of the year as far as box office, but no one talks about them.
No.
But the remakes,
the critical drinker, he referred to these remakes as like clones from the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They may look and act the same and may even speak the same as the originals, but inside they're just a hollow shell. And I thought that's accurate, because I'll say this quickly before you carry on. My wife is a big fan of Disney movies. She watched tons of them growing up. And she has looked at a lot of these and gone, these are not the same, especially story-wise, because one of the ones she liked was Mulan, and she was interested in watching this remake. So I said to her, well, Mushu's not in it. She doesn't have a relationship with the captain. And there's a couple of other changes, but she was disgusted by it. And when, again, to talk about The Little Mermaid a little bit, the fact that at the end, she steers the ship into Ursula's belly as opposed to the prince doing it, and also the father not he'd been turned into something else. He doesn't see what happens. It invalidates a whole chunk of the story, but they do it for modern audiences. So, carry on, please.
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating, the whole modern audience thing, because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if this is a beloved classic and everybody like loves it, well then why are you changing it? Because
Yeah.
all you're going to do is piss off the people that love it. And I mean, in this case, I don't like, I mean, this is a stupid remake. Like, I mean, if you're going to remake it, you should follow my rule of do
Yep.
something different. But if you are doing this, okay, it's an animated film and now you're doing a live action, but then you do a live action version, but you change a whole bunch of stuff like the Mulan thing. They basically made her into a girl boss and she
Yeah.
can do no wrong, when one of the major points in the original was that she was growing as a character. She was doing wrong and she got better. She didn't start up here and then keep getting,
Yeah.
so it's frustrating. A little thing I'll tell you about a video I'm working on that's going to come out on Monday. In the movie The Quick and the Dead, the guy who wrote it, he wrote it to be an homage to spaghetti westerns. So
Yes.
it was kind of very like a little tongue in cheek. And Sony bought the rights and they were like, okay, we want you to do a rewrite. He's like, well, what do you want me to rewrite? And they're like, well, we don't like the sarcastic tone of the film. We want it to be, because it was made to be like spaghetti westerns. So like, we want it to be more like American westerns. So he's like, okay. So he tried to rewrite it and they're like, we don't like your rewrites. So they hired somebody else to come in and rewrite it. And he rewrote it and made it really serious and turned it into this thing that would have been more expensive and would have been 2.5 hours long. And they said, no, we're not going to do this. So they rehired the original writer to come back and fix what the other guy wrote. And so what he did was like, all right, screw this. He went back and he removed all the stuff that the other guy wrote and essentially turned the script back into his original script. And Sony was like, okay, great. This is what we wanted. And he's like, so they spent a lot of money and a lot of time to get what I originally gave them. He's like, I don't think that they even read it. He's like, because they didn't even notice that what I delivered was the original script again. And so, I mean, in a way, it worked out well because the end result is a very fun kind of tongue-in-cheek homage to spaghetti westerns, and it wouldn't have been that if they would have went with with what the other guy was trying to do. So it's just a case of Hollywood threw a bunch of money at a problem that wasn't even a problem, and in the end, they changed nothing.
So also, you mentioned trailers being too long and giving away a lot of the important parts of the storyline. I got taken to see Terminator Genesis at the cinema. And the thing is, I'd already had a major plot point blown for me with the trailer because it's revealed John Connor's the bad guy, which makes fuck all sense. But yeah, you're right. I think 30-second trailers would be much better. I mean, do you have anything else to sort of add to that, or is
It's just trailers like they really need to they don't, but they should work with the director.
yes,
Like I understand the job of the trailer is to get asses in the seats, but there are ways to do that without spoiling massive things about like if you have like imagine The Sixth Sense if they
yeah,
would have spoiled that. Like I'm sure that if they did it now, they absolutely would have.
Yeah.
There's a movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a movie that I saw called Companion. And I had the big twist in the movie spoiled for me. And it's a shame because the movie is actually very good. Oh man, would I have loved to have not known if I would have like, and when it happens, just that, whoa, but I went in and it happened and I was like, okay, that's cool. But I knew.
yeah,
And it's really frustrating. And I can't imagine how frustrating it is as a director who makes this movie. And it's like, oh man, this is, I can't wait to see people's reactions. And then it's already spoiled in the trailer, or you get one of these movie mogul websites that's like, hey, can you believe we got the first 5 minutes of this movie?
I hate
And
that.
yeah, I don't I don't get that. Like there was a video, I think I talked about it in my one video
Yes, you did.
where in because of the marketing for the first Amazing Spider-Man movie,
Yeah.
they released the first 8 minutes and this and that, and somebody had edited all those scenes together, and you get like 32 minutes of the film. Like, so you get all these big plot points. It's like
Yeah.
when is enough enough? When are they going to stop showing us so much of the film? When is there going to be just a little bit of restraint and getting us excited for the film instead of just ruining the whole thing for us?
Yeah. You've also talked about the lack of standalone movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in total agreement on this because, again, favorite film last year was Weapons. It's a standalone at the moment because allegedly there's some sort of talk about doing a prequel for whatever stupid reason, which I really hope they don't.
Because it made $300 million.
Yeah,
you know, is essentially is why it always comes down to money.
But, I
There
mean,
was a movie I saw that I thought was amazing called Influencer. I knew nothing about this movie, and I went in. It was I'm spoiling one of my a Roll It Review It video for coming up soon. But I watched it and I'm like, this was. I had no idea where this movie. There were so many twists and turns. I did not know what to expect, and then I was like, "Oh my god, that's great!" And then I find out that they're doing a sequel, and I'm like, "How? Like, don't."
Yeah. It's that lack of restraint, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. They can't help themselves.
No.
You know.
So a couple of topics left, but I've mentioned this one because I love these, and I like to call these things the fan-made documentaries because it's the passion that goes into these is not in regular documentaries, as far as I'm concerned, and it's revolving around the In Search Of series in particular. But I've got some of these physical. I mean, obviously, first of all,
Nice.
I have BAS.
Oh,
because,
FPS,
yeah, I fucking love SPS games. I grew up on them, and then I've got this one. This is the one.
The sci-fi.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone doesn't know, this is 5 hours of bliss, especially if you're a sci-fi nerd like myself. And then obviously Aliens Expanded.
Oh, you got the Aliens Expanded. Awesome. Yeah, that was great.
And then finally, obviously
And
Terabytes.
Terabytes. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Terabytes was neat.
Yeah, but I know obviously you had involvement with the In Search of Darkness series because I believe it was number 2 you were involved that you were on camera for, because
I was involved in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But 2 was the one where I got like my own. They were trying something different.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do like special edition ones to see how they did, and they it was an experiment. They had me, they had Dead Meat James, I think they had Elvira, Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Yeah.
So they were just seeing how those did, and it was a fun little thing. I never had my own special edition Blu-ray before, so that was pretty cool.
But I love the passion that goes into these, because obviously a regular behind the scenes documentary that tend to be long, but when you've got ones like that are 4 or 5 hours long, I mean, again, for nerds like myself, it's bliss.
Yeah, that was kind of what the initial idea was. It was like, look, we're gonna, because originally it was only going to be one film. It was In Search of Darkness was only supposed to, because there was In Search of the Last Action Hero, which my friend Ali worked on. I've
emailed him to try and get him on here. He hasn't responded yet.
Oh, really? Oh, I'll message him. Ali's a great dude.
He is.
I'm sure it's just a wire across. Oh no, you got that. Here comes the next challenge. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I haven't seen that one yet, but
it's great.
Yeah, I want to. I just haven't had the time. But yeah, they were doing that because basically what they were going to do was they were going to do one on action, they were going to do one on horror, they were going to do one on sci-fi, they were going to do one on comedy or something. And what happened was the action one did well, but then the horror one did fucking gangbusters.
Yeah.
So they were like, because when we did In Search of Darkness, it was the big ones. It was Freddy, Halloween, Friday the 13th. And nothing that's wrong with that. I mean, it makes the most sense. If you're going to talk about 80s horror, you got to talk about the big boys. And so when it came time to do, so the first one went over so well, they're like, okay, we're going to do another one. And so when it came time to do the second one, it was like, well, we're going to do some of the not as well known. So then they went to
Yeah.
some of the other films, and the critters and the stuff and that kind of stuff. So then when it came time to do the third one, I was talking with the director, and he was like, "Look, you're gonna be my guy." He's like,
Mm.
"When we do the third one," he's like, "I want to talk to you." He's like, "'Cause I'm interviewing all these people, but I am gonna talk to you about all the other films that I want to talk about, but none of the other people wanted to talk about." And he's because he's like, "I know that these are the ones that you know." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." So I think we picked like 20 films,
Yeah.
and he interviewed me for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And there was a couple months go by, they contact me, and they're like, they're like, "Something went wrong. We lost all of your footage.
Oh no.
We need you to do the interview again." And at the time, there was like, they really were like, holy crap, they were putting it together. So they were like, "We need to interview you like soon." So the day that I set up, the night before, I got food poisoning.
Oh no.
So the next day I had to go in and do the interview, and I couldn't do it here for some reason. I don't remember why.
Mm.
I think our house might have been up for sale at the time. And so I had to do it at my friend's house. And I went, and he's like, "Dude, you look like death." And I'm like, "I died food poisoning." He's like, "Oh my God." He's like, I'm like, "But we got to get these interviews done." And so I talked to him. I did the interview for another couple hours, and they color graded me so that I didn't look, because I'm naturally pale, but
Yeah.
I'm Irish. What do you want out of me?
My
But
wife is Irish.
oh, well, then I go out in the sun and poof, I immediately burst
Mm.
into flames. So, or I should say, I am American, but I am of Irish descent. But the name didn't give it away.
Mm.
So I did the interview. They color graded me that I didn't look as pale, but I don't think that they used nearly as much footage of me as they wanted, and which kind of sucked because we had so much fun talking about
Yeah.
the killer refrigerator, or
Well,
the deathbed, the bed that
yeah.
eats, and all that stuff.
Well, I always remember your segment because you kind of served as an introduction to the interviews with Linnea Quigley, and
Ah,
I always chuckle at that part because she talks about where she comes out of that sarcophagus in that film with the 2 chainsaws, and because she
mhm.
was shut in there while those things were revving away, she's getting asphyxiated from the fumes. And when she walks out, she's kind of her leg buckles a little bit, and I see it and think, "Oh, damn." So I do chuckle at moments like that. But yeah, I love these documentaries
Mhm.
because, like I said, I could sit and watch them for hours. But especially what I love about them is you guys get to talk to a lot of the old actors and directors involved, and including some like Stuart Gordon, who are sadly no longer with us. But you also get to talk to the likes of Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, and of course on In Search of Tomorrow, absolute fucking legends like Peter Weller, sorry, beg your
Peter
pardon,
Weller.
who gets the final word in that documentary. Again, for nerds like me, this is pure bliss. So I genuinely hope more of these come along.
We are currently working on now we're doing 70s. So
Mm,
we're doing In Search of Darkness 70s. I don't know,
mm,
because we did 80s, we did 90s. There's a lot of material to talk about in the 70s. And what was the other one we're doing? We do have another one in the pipe. I don't remember off
mm.
the top of my head. I'm not Unfortunately, they've grown so much as a production company that I'm not as involved as I was,
Yeah.
which is a bummer, but it's business. I get it.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I still kind of help to promote them, but I don't have, like, in the first one, I helped with the edit. I did, a lot of the interviews. I offered a lot of suggestions. I had a lot of input in the first one. And then I worked, on the second one and the third one. And then, as time went on, I wasn't working with them as much. But again, I get it. Why are you going to talk to why are you going to work with me when you can work with Corey Taylor from Slipknot? It's like
Mm.
you're going to go with the much bigger name. I understand. It's
Yeah.
business.
So a couple of topics left, but this one I'm keen to hear your views on. Simply put, what are your views on movies today? And the reason
They
I ask
stink.
that, well, the reason the reason I ask that is, of course, we had Return to Silent Hill. Now, yeah, now
I
I'll,
have a
I'll
thing to say about that, but
well,
yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
just put my personal view on this first. Now, I hate a lot of the movies and TV that come out today. I think they're very, very shallow productions. I think they're not being made because for the right reasons. I think they've been made primarily to fill streaming services, which I think have done more harm than good to the entertainment industry. It takes a lot for me to leave the house to go see a movie at the cinema nowadays because, again, a lot of it is shit. With this particular film, I was really hoping it was going to be good because, again, I love the Silent Hill series. Silent Hill 2, fantastic movie.
Mhm.
Sorry, game. But the more I started to see trailers of this, the more I was starting to go, ah. But again, I was hoping against hope. And when I went to see it, so give me your thoughts. I mean, am I off track here or?
No. I actually found out after the fact. I'll kind of go through this a little bit. I When I heard that they were doing it, I went out of my way to avoid anything in Return to Silent Hill. I did
Yeah.
not want to see the trailer. I didn't want to see pictures of it. I didn't want anything spoiled for me. I wanted to go in as blind as possible because I adore the original, and I
Mm,
was going off of how much I love Christoph Gans's work that I was like, you know what? This is the movie I know he's been wanting to make for 20 years. He wanted to make this as a follow-up to, but I went into that in the documentary.
right.
So I was like, okay, this I I will wait and I'll go see it in the theater. And I went and I saw it. Well, my first tip was that it was January, and there's always the FU, it's
Yeah, which
January.
is, yeah, it's not a
So,
good release date.
but I went, I saw it, I was incredibly disappointed. However, in true Good Bad Flicks fashion, I discovered that this movie was finished about a year and a half ago.
Oh,
The studio that was involved in it hated the original cut. And so they went and they reshot, I believe, something like 50% of the film. And
ah,
so the version that we got once again was not Gans's original vision. So this is another case of where because I was like, no, something didn't sit right with me. I'm like, you
mm,
can't do the original Silent Hill as good as that was, and then do this movie and think that it's good.
mm,
So I don't know if we will ever get to see what the real version is in this case. But I just know that the version that hit theaters and the version that is now on
yeah,
Blu-ray and whatnot is not his cut. And that is really, really depressing that
yeah,
he wanted, I mean, he's been wanting to make this for so long, and they finally do it and they mess it up.
yeah. Because I think one of the parts that jumped out at me was that it does feel like that there were large chunks of that story missing because at one point he's in this weird area, then suddenly he's on the riverfront looking at the hotel. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And as you point out in the video, the line, in my restless dreams I see that town is not there. I mean,
Mhm.
seriously?
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but then the bit that caught me was obviously in the game. There's a bit where you go into one of the apartments and there's a dead body in front of a static TV, and
Mhm.
obviously if you look in the game, you can tell that's James. They don't do that in the film, and I found that so confusing. But
Mhm.
fuck, this one pissed me off.
Yeah, that was really depressing.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not mad at I would love to talk to him about it, but this might be another might I mean, who knows if I can get a hold of him, this might be a case of he was sour about it because of how screwed he was, but maybe he'll want to get it off his chest. Maybe he'll want it because I've had some directors that are like, I'll tell you the story, but completely off the record. You
Mm,
could do a video on it, but you didn't hear it from me.
no.
And so this might, I mean, if I can talk to him, I
Mm,
would love to find out what happened and maybe one day we'll get the real version.
Yeah. But to go into movies briefly that are coming out now, nothing excites me anymore. I mean, I've seen the trailers for Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter that are coming out later on this year, and I'm intrigued to see them. I mean, Street Fighter looks batshit crazy. But, but you know what? I'll go watch it because I might get a good chuckle out of it.
It looks fun.
Yeah, but what seems to be coming out nowadays is either shallow crap, which they're making, like I said, I personally think, to fill a streaming service, or Oscar bait. And a lot of it they overspend on, and a lot of it doesn't make its money back. I mean, one example off the top of my head is that One Battle After Another, which from a distance looked like an overly long, political laden movie. And I don't know about your circle of friends, but I spoke to a lot of people, and none of them had even seen it. And as a result, I think it bombed. It didn't make its money back, but Hollywood showered it with awards, as per the case with the Oscars, because again, I think it was Oscar bait.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to quote unquote modern audiences, I don't think it's a thing. I mean, again, going back to the critical drinker says, I think these people make these movies for themselves. They don't
make them for an audience.
No,
or they make them for an audience that they think exists but doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I think this is starting to have a bigger effect because obviously, like I said, most of these films are bombing. When it comes to like ceremonies like the Oscars or whatever, the viewerships have dropped massively. Not this Oscar's just gone, but the one before it. I had not seen a single one of the nominated movies, and I didn't know anyone else who had either. And the only Oscar this time round that I was pleased for was Amy Madigan winning for Weapons, because again, she creeped the shit out of me in that film. Now, as someone, I know you do review a lot of the newer movies, but they're short videos compared to what you do now. So what do you have to say about the whole thing before we move on to the final topic?
Without going like into
I love the fact you start that with a sigh, because that's how I feel.
I have a friend of mine who had posted recently, hey, what movie are you looking forward to? Because we're getting into the summer months. What movie are you looking forward to? And I started scanning the IMDb, seeing what was coming out, and I'm like, nothing.
No.
I'm hoping that Mortal Kombat is fun, but the last one was disappointing. But I do think that it looks like maybe they've got their head screwed on and it's going to be fun. So I hope that the new one is fun. Street Fighter looks like it will also be fun. But then I'm looking at everything else and I'm like, well, this is political nonsense.
Yeah.
This is the He-Man movie looks god awful. I'm like, everything it just there was nothing that really grabbed my attention.
No.
And made me be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go see that. Like, I hadn't been to the theater in years, but I went to go see Silent Hill because I wanted it to be good. But then everything, like, as I'm watching the trailers when I'm at there, and I'm like, that looks like garbage. That looks like garbage. Like, there's nothing good. So yeah, I think that they have to do a serious course correct, because they can't continue, like, they're losing money hand over fist.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not a sustainable business model if you're making movies for people that aren't going to watch it. So at some point, they're going to have to start making movies for audiences again. Or just look at the Tom Cruise thing. Tom Cruise is like, hey, we made a new Top Gun, and everybody, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, go make movies like that. Learn from the guy who is arguably the last movie star.
Yeah.
Because we don't get movie stars anymore. We get people that kind of are and it's fine, because we don't need movie stars anymore. Roger Corman said the least important person on any film is the actor or actress. He's like, you worry about the competent people behind the camera. He's like, they are replaceable. So replaceable, he's replaced some of them like mid-movie, and no one noticed. So he had an open disdain for most actors, which I like. I think that like actors need to kind of go back and remember that, you know, not to get into a political thing,
No, no, of
but
course.
they just like, I understand if you really want to believe in something, you know, go out. All right, fine, go out there and talk. But like,
Yeah.
understand that most of your audience are not millionaires,
No.
and so stop acting like we can all identify with you. So,
Well,
but I think anyway. But going on movies,
yeah.
I haven't seen anything that like even the Mortal Kombat movie, which I think looks interesting. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to go bother to go see it in theaters or not,
Mm.
especially because I can just wait and in a month or two it'll be on home video or it'll
Yeah.
be on video on demand.
Well, I mean, we're going back to actors for a second. A point Nerdrotic made about actors, half their problem is the shit they say on social media.
Mhm.
Because obviously I try my best to sort of keep it at arm's length nowadays. I know you don't talk on it very often at all. But as he said, because of some of the crap these people say, we know them now, and
Mhm.
they're not particularly nice people.
Mhm.
And going back to streaming, so much crap gets put on those things. It's kind of, you spend more time searching for a good movie to watch than actually watching one. And there have been times my wife and I have been searching, and when we found a good film, we're genuinely surprised at the end that we found a good film. I
Mhm.
mean, for example, that War Machine that came out on Netflix with Alan Richson.
Yes, that
That
was
was
so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then The Rip with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon,
Mhm.
and I forget its name now. The one that Jason Momoa and what's his fucking name, Dave Bautista did together. It escapes me now. The Hawaiian
Oh, okay, I haven't
action
seen that
movie.
one.
Look it up on Amazon Prime. It's
Okay,
fun.
yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
War Machine, I went in, I was my cat was asleep on my lap, and I was like, all right, I don't want to move. All right, I'll see what's on Netflix. And that had just come out, and it'd only been out for like a day or two. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. All right,
Hmm.
let's watch it. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
like, it was a throwback to the old action movies. It
Yes.
was testosterone, it was brotherhood, it was a guy with nothing to lose, it was explosions, it was a
Yeah.
really good story. I loved the hell out of that,
Yeah.
and I was very pleased with it.
It's also one thing
Yeah.
I should point out about the ending. It's open-ended.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we don't know if there'll be another one, but if there's not, you know what? I'll be fine with that because I was happy with that ending.
Yeah. It was enough. Like, if they do another one, but the thing is, if they do another one, it's not gonna have the same weight because now it's gonna be a whole bunch of
Yeah.
guys fighting the, you know, and they know how to take them out. Whereas
Mhm.
this one, it was a couple of guys, they're all trying to figure out, they're not rangers yet. They're all still rangers in training, and it was really fun. And the dude
Mm.
who was the lead, holy that dude is the size of a refrigerator. He's huge. Because
Yeah.
he's standing next to like some of the other, like, there are other people, other actors, and I'm like, he's like in that Jack Reacher show. That
Mm.
guy is enormous.
Yeah.
I'm like, how big is this dude? There was a picture of him with Henry Cavill. He made Henry Cavill look small. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this guy's giant.
Mm.
I'm like, I hope he's in the Warhammer thing that Cavill is doing, because he would be an outstanding space marine, because he's this he had a tree trunk neck. But yeah, War Machine was great. But in general, streaming sucks because they're not there to make quality. They're there to make content. That's
Mhm.
why we're getting things like a RoboCop series instead of a RoboCop movie. Now, I don't want either. I don't want another RoboCop movie. I don't want a
No.
RoboCop series. But the thing is, what they're doing is they went back to the model of releasing stuff like weekly.
Yeah.
That way, people aren't binge watch. They're signing up for a month, watching whatever, and then leaving.
Yeah.
Now they used to binge. You know, they learned that binge watching initially was good over COVID, but it wasn't good the long run. So now they're making crap. They're taking an hour-long idea and stretching it out into
Yeah.
10, because then that's 10 weeks. So people will sign up for 3 months of Netflix. And it's just frustrating because the channels are being flooded with garbage.
Yeah.
Most of it is like you start watching it and it's like it's interesting enough. It's a little bit of a hook, but after a while, you're like, this sucks. All
Yeah.
their original movies, for the most part, none of them are particularly good. The only ones that really are good are the ones like War Machine, where they picked it up. Somebody else made it and they're going to distribute it. But
Yeah.
all their original stuff, like Amazon, I think is the worst with the Rings of Power and all that.
Oh,
Billion dollars for unwatchable garbage.
yeah.
So I think that it's really frustrating. And they keep jacking the price up.
Yes.
So it's like not only are we getting less and less quality stuff, but we're getting it's costing more and more. It's actually worse than cable was.
Yeah.
And just one final thing to note, with stuff like Amazon and whatnot, they are just giving us so much crap. They're doing all these things when really I would love it if it was just like, okay, I understand you want to make new stuff. You want to be like HBO or whatever. But they're overlooking the back catalogs.
Yeah.
HBO, or I'm sorry, not HBO. Amazon now owns the Amazon back or the MGM back
Yeah,
catalog.
that's right.
Put the entire freaking back catalog on Amazon Prime, and I will happily pay for that, because there are so many older movies that you can't find that I would love to be able to just, hey, I want to watch this, boom, and it's there. But no, it's whatever new stuff they want you to watch. And it's
Yeah.
like, but you own these films, put them out there, let us watch them. You will increase. I guarantee you that there are a lot of people now that are sick of the garbage that's coming out that would be more than happy to watch like your older stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll finish on this before we get to the last topic. But we watched I think it was on Amazon Prime. It was a movie called 13 Minutes. It was about a tornado hits this town, and it's called 13 Minutes because that's the length of the warning they get. And at the start of I'll see if I can get this right in the right order. At the start of the movie, we get a Christian couple running a farm that are moaning about illegal migrants, but they are using them to run the farm. You've got their closeted son who's having an affair with one of the migrants. You've got a load of migrants working in a nearby hotel, and the owner treats them like crap. And one of the characters has her husband is illegally in the country. You've got a girl that's pregnant by her married lover, and she's been treated at the abortion clinic run by the Christian mum. There's a couple of other themes going on here, and I paused it at one point, and I said to my wife, "I swear we're supposed to be watching a tornado movie."
I was just thinking that. I'm like, when do we get to the tornado part?
And because it's been built up. And she said, "Yeah, I know. Let's just see what happens." Now, the movie was 85 minutes long. The tornado hits at the hour mark. You get that, a bit of destruction, some recovery, which I just stopped giving a shit about, and then the movie ended. And that's what part of the reason why I hate these services, because they become a dumping ground. But that's that.
Yeah, it's like, oh great, I'm gonna be preached to for it. And it's like I
Yes.
thought I was watching a tornado movie, but
Yeah.
I'm watching somebody's political
Yeah.
and I understand. Okay, you know what? This is the movie you wanted to make, fine. But you have to recognize I, as the viewer, don't have to enjoy this.
No.
And I am fully welcome to go, like, if I don't like this, I can go out and like give my honest opinion that I think that this is a bunch of crap. I hate the notion of, well, this wasn't made for you. Well,
Yeah.
who is it made for then?
Yeah.
Like, because obviously no one's watching it.
Right. So the final topic is YouTube itself. Now, this show that I do, I don't monetize or anything. I don't get paid for it. I do it because I enjoy it. But folks like yourselves, I know that it's an income for you. And you've been doing it a long time. So again, you kind of rely on it, I suppose. But YouTube, over the years that I've become aware of, it does like to put the screws on its creators with rule changes, restrictions, and whatnot. And I know you've had to deal with a lot of crap from it. What do you have to say on the whole thing?
Let me, hold on one second. Okay. It's really frustrating because I love what I do.
Yes.
And I'm good at what I do.
Oh, yes.
And There are right now, one of the biggest problems we have is with AI. Like AI videos are flooding
Yeah.
YouTube. And when the new president of YouTube comes out and says that they're going to be investing more in AI, that is just incredibly, I hate to use the thing, but incredibly tone deaf, because the whole point of the you in YouTube is the you. You find, it is you making, creating.
Yeah.
And you have people that are like, well, they're creating. There's a big difference between
Yeah.
something that I do and somebody going and writing a bunch of prompts and making something.
Mm.
I think that it is incredibly frustrating. It's short-sighted. And the other big problem with YouTube is that instead of focusing on what YouTube is and working to make that better, they're always chasing trends,
Yeah.
which is why we have shorts, because they were trying to chase after TikTok.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, they're kind of walking that back. They now have enabled the ability for you to block shorts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can, you have to do it on mobile, but you go into your settings and, you can set short lengths to 0 seconds, I believe. And then this came directly from the YouTube account, that they're like, "Hey, we listened and we've enabled it so that you can block all shorts." And I'm sure there are a lot of people that, live on shorts that are really frustrated. But I'm mixed on it. On one hand, I'm really glad because I personally hate shorts. But on the other hand, um, you made these tools, you pushed them really hard for people to be able to use, and now, like, imagine if I look at it from the perspective of, I make sometimes long videos, and imagine if all of a sudden they enabled the ability to block all videos that are like 5 minutes or longer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's my bread and butter. So I think that for them to do that is really crappy for all the people that they pushed them into doing shorts. And now they're doing shorts and it's like, we're not, now they're going to block shorts. So it's kind of crappy. But again, it just kind of goes to show how terrible they are as a company, that they don't, it just seems like they always have no idea what they're doing. And they've succeeded just simply because they were the first, and the size of them. But their UI is terrible. It's flooded. They now have 90-second unskippable ads. They constantly are changing the algorithm. Instead of just, like, all I've ever asked is, if somebody subscribes to my channel, I think that they should get a notification whenever I put a new video out. Crazy to think, but according to them, no. If you subscribe to my channel, or subscribe to any channel, if you subscribe to a channel and then you hit the bell, all that does is increase the possibility that you will get notified when there's a new video.
Yeah.
Which to me is the dumbest thing. Could you imagine if that worked in any other thing? Let's say I subscribe to a newspaper and they decide, he doesn't want this newspaper today. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Why? What's the point of somebody subscribing to your channel if they're not going to be notified when there's a new video? It's the dumbest thing. So I think that, first and foremost, if they fix that, that would probably make most. And the thing is, they're like, well, people have shown that they lose subscribers. I don't care then. If people unsubscribe to me because they're notified of when I put out a new video, well, apparently they didn't like my stuff to begin with. So that's not going to affect me.
There was also something I think you mentioned a while back regarding nudity in videos, because I know that when you've covered such films, you either black bar the nudity out or you do another picture. Apparently that wasn't enough for them. They instructed like further coverings or something silly like that.
Yeah, if you put out a video where the nudity is censored, that's as bad as showing nudity. I think because now they're using AI to moderate. So I think maybe the black bars are screwing with the AI. So they came up with the excuse that showing that is because I didn't understand. I'm like, wait a minute. So and I got this directly from YouTube. I'm like,
Yeah.
so blocking the nudity is as bad as showing nudity. That doesn't make any
No.
sense. So now, if I'm doing a film that has nudity or something in it, I will I'll zoom in. So let's say there's a woman laying on her back and she's nude. In previous times, I would just put a box and cover her boobs, but now I'll zoom in so it's just like her head, for the scene, and so it's not even a hint of a boob, to kind of block it, and that that work. It's not the best, but I mean or I'll joke about it. I'll be like, yeah, I had to zoom in on this lady's head, or and people, the audience, they get it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, you got to do what you got to do to abide by YouTube's stupid rules.
It's bizarre. So, finally question. What's next for you? I assume more videos.
Yeah, I've got some really really great exploring videos that I'm working on. I've got two massive crossovers. I don't want to say just yet, but I have a creator who has millions of subscribers that I'm doing two videos with, that will be out. Probably the first one will probably be out June, and then the next one will probably be out later in the year, because we're doing because we're mutual fans of each other, and so we're doing a video together, that we're doing an exploring video together, that's going to be on my channel in June, and then doing a video for his channel, but that's going to come out later in the year. So I'm really super excited about those. The roller reviews are coming back, which I'm happy about. I've got a lot of really great exploring videos that I've been teasing for years that finally are going to come to fruit. I had one of my patrons had been bugging me for years to do Invasion USA, and I finally I'm like, look, dude, I'm like, these. And he jokingly, he's like, I know, I'm just riding you about. And then once I put it out, he's like, well, now what am I going to annoy you about? So now he's on me about the Monster Squad. When are you going to do Monster Squad?
Yeah,
And I'm like, so, but yeah, I've got a lot of really great ones that I've been working on. Like Dragon Heart. Hopefully this year I'll finally be able to put that one out. So yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done this one, but one I'd always wanted you to do was the original Red Dawn.
Oh yeah, Red Dawn would be interesting.
Yeah.
That's one I don't have on the list, but I mean, I could, I'll take a look into it. But I mean, there are a lot of ones. I'll tell you some ones that may or may not. I can't guarantee that these are going to be out this year, but Judge Dredd, Species 2. Goddamn, the Judge Dredd one is going to be 2 hours long. It's ridiculous. That's why it's taking so long, because I've talked to a lot of people about that, about how Stallone at the time, his ego was on fire, so they fired a guy because he was taller than him, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Dragonheart I mentioned. I'm doing an update on Krull. I've got so many in the mix where I've got interviews, I've talked to people. It's just a matter of I'm one guy who's doing my best to put all these together. So yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to get those out this year. But at the very least, I've got some in the. I mean, I got two really big ones in the pipe, and I've got a lot of other ones that I know are gonna drop this year. But if I could, because people are like, oh, I want you to do more exploring videos. I'm like, you think I don't know that? I would love to do these, but they take a long time.
Yeah, of course. Imagine.
So yeah. They take forever, and I don't have an editing team. I can't afford an editing team. And honestly, a lot of the videos come together in the edit. So I think that if I hired an editor to do them, they wouldn't feel like I think they would stop feeling like they came from me,
Yeah, of course. I understand that. All right, so to finish off then, I always ask my guests the Pivo questionnaire as a nod to the late, great James Lipton and the Inside the Actors Studio series, which is one of my favorites. So, Cecil, what is your favorite word?
My favorite word, scruples.
Mm-hmm.
I like it's not my favorite word, but that's the word that comes to mind. It's fun to say scruples.
What is your least favorite word?
It's not X. Maybe like X you a question.
Okay. What turns you on?
Sporty Spice. I love Sporty Spice. Love
Fair
fit
enough.
tomboys.
What turns you off?
Pointless remakes, I guess, if
Yeah,
you want to,
good one, yeah.
or yeah.
What is your favorite curse word?
Favorite curse word. I guess fuck, because I that's the old industry standard.
Oh,
You know, it's so versatile.
yeah. What sound or noise do you like?
What sound of noise do well, like
Sound
what
or noise, yeah.
like you mean like music or
Anything,
like
any kind of noise.
oh like um uh, a woman playing the piano
Okay.
with that like has a like a Tori Amos, just that that ethereal beauty playing like just effortlessly playing the just that always that always gets me. That I'm a sucker for a woman that can play piano.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Anything that's on the radio today.
Fair enough. What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Musician. I'd love to. I that's my other thing. I wanted to be a rock star.
What profession other than yours would you absolutely not like to attempt?
Porn star. I would not be very good.
Oh god. Okay, and finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
All your cats are waiting for you.
Brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can find Cecil's work on, of course, GoodBadFlicks, the main movie channel on YouTube. And what's the name of your secondary channel, Cecil?
It's I Roll It. So
And
yeah, you can find that, and like I said, there's a bunch of stuff on there now. It's all the compilation videos of the previous reviews if you haven't seen them yet, and then new reviews are going to start next week. I'm pretty excited about that. I hope it does well. So yeah, so just look up I Roll It. It's not. I've had people like, oh, what do you roll joint? And I'm like, no, I don't roll a joint. I'm like the image is I even changed the image to be like dice. I changed the so it's like, so look, you see dice roll, you know. But yeah, I had people like I didn't watch it because I thought you rolled a joint and watched it. I'm like, I don't even smoke weed.
No. This has been a fantastic conversation, and
yeah, this was great, man.
And I can't thank you enough for giving me your time today. I really appreciate it, and literally, good luck with all your work going forwards. I promise you, you've got a fan for life in myself.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, thank you very much. This has been great.
Thank you, man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.